Test. Test. There's a bitty. Hello. So, we are back today with more Crimson Spires because I want to find out what happens. Of course I do. So, housekeeping first, this game came out on the 11th of August. It is developed by Woodsy Studio and East Asia Soft and published by East Asia Soft. And I received a copy of this game for streaming purposes. Thanks to unedited Xbox. So yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to pretty much get straight into it because, well, I don't know how much of the game we've got left. I mean, it's approximately halfway through the achievements, so it might be approximately halfway through the game, or it might not be. It is partially voiced, which is very slightly irritating because well, you know, it means that I have to try and imitate the voices when they don't voice the character that was previously voiced. But aside from that, it's really interesting. So, we have a bit of a gallery with some pictures already unlocked. Interesting. Not many. So August path, Maddie's path, Julian's. So there are 4 paths by the looks of it. I don't know which one we're playing. We will see, I guess, at the end. I only think you have to do 1 path to get all the achievements. And there's a new game plus after you've unlocked some stuff. But it's hard to play more. When I've got so many other games to play, so I might see if there's any lore on the internet and see if we can get, you know, some insight into what happens. So, an excerpt from the musical Lucius Christ Superstar is allegedly performed at the Battelle, wasn't it? Middle School in March 1997. I've never seen Jesus Christ Superstar, so I don't know how this is meant to be sung, so I'm just going to read it. Listen, Lucius, I don't like what I hear. All I ask is that you take in my fear. And remember, I've been your left-hand man from the start. You have given them a goal, now they promise you their souls, and they'll hurt you if you break their hearts. I remember when this whole thing began. No talk of God then, we called you a king, and believe me, my dedication isn't lost. But every word you say this hour has turned to something I find sour, and it will crush you once it's been crossed. Italy, your favourite son, should have stayed a bland patron. Like his father ruling Rome, he'd be at home. Interesting. Finance gold and ducats left would have suited Lucius best. He'd have caused nobody harm, no one alarm. I did just press continue, so it's just picked up from whatever chapter it is next. I did a save as well, so I'm not quite sure what chapter we're in. It doesn't actually say. But hey. Crimson Skies? No. Crimson Spires. It's a visual novel. Hi, Subterfuge. How are you doing? Okay, now I gotta try and remember the accents that I did. I'm fairly certain hers was sort of a posh/brisk voice. And these two have voices sometimes, and hers has an American accent that I cannot imitate, so I'll do my best. I'm surprised to find that August and Maddie are already at the precinct when I arrive the next morning. August grins sweetly at me. Maddie, on the other hand, scowls at both of us. Hi, Dan. I find it all quite suspicious. I think I'll be fine. I was just a bit, I just had my meal, and it was digesting. And it was like, oh, I thought I'd have time to play something else, but no, apparently the evening got away from me again. I appreciate the fact that both of you are so eager about this job, but you don't need to arrive before 7 unless we have an emergency.
Absolutely.
What can I say? I miss the sight of those stale white bricks in the morning.
I can't help!
2 people are missing. Isn't that an emergency? Yes, and we might be closer to finding them if you hadn't destroyed so much evidence. She shakes her head with a huff. I'll make breakfast. Hi, Purple! Scrambled eggs for both of you.
Isn't that lovely?
Yes, thank you, and please burn the bacon nice and black like Eric always did. Hugs, Purple. If you want a nice diversion, I have random vampire mystery supernatural novel with voices. It's fairly ridiculous, so, doesn't require much brain. I think you do hug, not hugs, and it will work. I think. I set that up. Once Maddie's in the kitchen, I motion August aside. I have a plan for today. I want you to talk to a witness and examine a crime scene.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, now this sounds like fun. So there's one thing I didn't tell you before at the cabin. I found a letter inviting Jessica and Gary to safely leave the town. Whoever sent it may be hiding them or may have hurt them. If you're going to be free, you might as well be useful. And right now I could use the perspective of a criminal.
But...
Just a criminal? Not a criminal mastermind? Well, you were caught. Maybe I wanted to be caught. I thought you still insisted that you weren't the Heartbreaker. I was indulging you. I am not the Heartbreaker. But I do agree you could use my insights. And because I suspect this whole situation might have more to do with my area of expertise than yours. Murder? Philosophy. I don't see how that's even remotely possible, but I'll take that as a yes.
Well...
So where are we headed? Jessica had a close friend named Sarah. I've already talked to her once, but I want you to give it a try. She's not much younger than your students, so you might be able to get more out of her. In the cabin where Jessica and Gary were staying, Maddie's probably nowhere near as good as cleaning up a crime scene as you, so you might see something she missed. Yes. August is an alleged serial killer. He's not a vampire. And Erica is an FBI agent. So, summarizing for everyone that didn't see the last stream, Erica was chasing after August because he escaped. There was a prison van crash, people died, and then it seemed like there might be like some kind of beastie. And then suddenly Crimson Spires shot up surrounding this town that we're in called Bataille. And if you go anywhere past them, you get a laser beam taking off your head, which is what happened to Erica's colleague. Because he was going to trial. he was being put on trial. They hadn't had the trial yet, so it's only alleged until they've proven it. Innocent until proven guilty is the whole, thing. So they're now trapped. It's been 6 months later and they're trapped in this town. No one knows why, and then reality is changing. So they all started calling it the something or other. I can't remember now. It began with a C. I'm sure it'll come up at some point. And then suddenly, like, Lucius Christ is worshipped. And various other things. And there may be vampires running the town. And there's a train that comes in bringing food. And the town hall turned into a really big high-rise. Are you getting your vowels mixed up again, Dan? Yeah, so... Oh, and 2 kids are missing. So Jessica and Gary are missing. But they're not dead. Yeah, it's really interesting. It was a randomly picked by Xbox's Surprise Me functionality, because I didn't know what to play last week. And it's really good. It's really good. So, yeah, we're just sort of getting into the story where we might start getting some secrets revealed. And the cabin where... Alright, I did already say that, didn't I? Yes. I'll do what I can. Can I see the letter you found? I hesitate. I've already sealed that letter in protective plastic and placed it in my vault, wary of who else might see it. If it was written by a criminal mastermind as you suggest, perhaps I can learn something about his thought process. Using philosophy?
Well...
Using general knowledge. One way or another, he has a point. Reluctantly, I retrieve the letter and give it to him. Careful. Of course. He takes a few minutes to read it over. I watch his expression, but can't interpret his reaction.
I suppose.
I take it you already brushed for fingerprints? Yes, the only ones I found were Maddie's.
Is that so?
Well, that alone is quite telling. If Jessica received this letter, why wouldn't her fingerprints be on it? I know that. I yank the letter back in frustration and then lock it back in the vault. I can handle the police work. I wanted your take on the voice of the letter.
Reductio ad absurdum.
I think it was written by someone conceited and manipulative, but that could be anyone, including this Bataille Repatriation Society.
Sheriff?
Breakfast. Maddie returns with 2 plates of eggs and bacon. The bacon is quite undercooked, which August notes by examining it with a look of disappointment. I can't believe you're letting a serial killer help you with this case over me. If there is a malicious criminal behind Jessica's disappearance, August might help us understand their intent.
But...
Actually, I'm not. Maddie ignores August as if he's not in the room. Daisy!
About that.
Is it true you had a date with Julian Bataille last night? That's not any of your business, and how did you find out anyway? I might have let something slip.
Not so sure.
I don't think you should get close to Julian. Not like that. Jealous, are we?
Huh?
I respect the Batailles a great deal, I do, and no, I'm not interested in Julian that way. I'm not interested in any men that way.
How interesting.
Yeah, now I see why you're immune to my charms. Maddie takes a deep breath. To my surprise, I realize she's trembling.
I'm not sure.
Julian's a good friend. I just don't think he'd make a good boyfriend, I guess. That's all. Do you know something I don't, Maddie? Can Julian Battelle be abusive? I'm not sure. I don't know anything concrete. It's more just a feeling. She scratches her inner elbow where the bandage used to be. Thank you for the warning, but I can protect myself. Oh yeah, so we went out for a dinner date with one of the vampires. It was quite funny. He was late. It was annoying. I think she's a thrall, and they basically hypnotized her into cleaning up a crime scene and planting evidence. And yeah, and he's an alleged serial killer, which is, you know, always fun. So hopefully we shall get some more infos today. I'm already quite suspicious of Julian and his entire family. The only reason I went on a date with him was to gather information. All I managed to do was confirm he's hiding something. Well, exactly, Daisy. And I was trying to investigate him anyway. I don't think I got any useful information, but I did get a meal.
Maybe.
I believe you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. The Battelles are good people. But if that's what you think, then maybe I can help. I've known them for a while, I can tell you what I know. Sorry, I know I'm butchering this American accent, but this is a partially voiced character, so I can't pick it myself. I really wish they'd put the voices back in. Let me be clear about something, Maddie. I don't trust you. Even if you told me about all your experiences with the Battelles in great detail, I wouldn't know how much to believe. Until I know I can trust you, I don't want to do anything at all but watch the desk. I don't want you to do anything at all. But watch the desk, clean the building, and get our food. Fair enough. Are we clear? Crystal. Good. Let's go, August. So yeah, partially voiced. It's like sometimes they do the voice for the character, and sometimes I have to do the voice. And I haven't figured out what the pattern is. Ooh. Peace, thanks so much for the resub. Welcome in. It's 15 months, blimey. Wow. Yes, the Welsh dragon appears. How are you doing? How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing this fine... I don't even know what day it is. Tuesday. Tuesday. How is everyone doing this fine Tuesday? It's been a long day, week, month, year. Insert period of time here. I feel more than a little uncomfortable bringing August to the Battelle school, but I know it's important. He knows more about people Sarah's age than I ever will. He taught... Oh no! Daisy! Dan, you can complain if you want to. You know. I'm fine. I'm just tired, to be fair. But not tired, but yeah, I'm yawning. Daisy, how did you manage to sprain your ankle? You were doing so well with the massive walk. I do have the yawns. Okay, I mean, fair enough. Work stuff, leaving at the office, that's fair enough. You don't want to think about it. But, you know, just... It's that whole thing. It's like, just because people have it worse doesn't mean that, you know, your feelings aren't valid. And that, you know, you can't, you know, complain a little among friends. And we're friends here. So, you know, just so you know, your feelings are valid. Oh, 10-mile walk, blimey, you're putting me to shame. I was limping after my 7-mile round trip. But to be fair, I was limping when I started the second half of it. So, you know, 3.5 did me in. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I can be walking down a completely flat road and turn my ankle. So, you know, I guess if you've got like a support bandage handy, you know, keep it elevated, and if it swells like ice and heat, I think, I don't know, but yeah, try not to aggravate it, and it should heal fairly quickly unless you've done some damage. And yeah, if it turns a funny colour, I seem to remember something about, was it a door you kicked or fell on you or something, and you had a purple foot? If it does that again, then we'll just see a doctor. Vaguely remember something with a door. Was it a door? I know it was your foot. Anyway, you take care of yourself. Everyone take care of themselves, you know. And hugs all around. So yeah. Rest, ice, and elevation. Perfect. Yes. If your leg falls off, call 111. Yeah. I mean, the support bandage is more, if you put pressure on it, it can help. It was, yeah, I vaguely remember it being this really nasty door, and I think, didn't your foot go like, either go like right into the corner of it or something? And yeah, it was not, I remember it being not good. But hopefully it's just a mild sprain, and it'll heal up. Because you need to do your walkings. And don't forget to hydrate. Everyone should hydrate. I had rhubarb tea this morning. And my Lady Grey tastes very slightly of rhubarb, which is really nice. Yeah, I mean, I like purple, but feet are not meant to be that colour. Yeah, feet are definitely not meant to be purple, unfortunately. Yes, supportive bandages. He taught freshman college classes and dealt with them all the time. Meanwhile, meanwhile, it's like the opposite of I mean, yes, I also like the colour purple, which is what I was referring to, but yes, we like you purple. Meanwhile, I like that. I'm just going to keep that. Meanwhile, I hardly ever interacted with anyone younger than 20. It's rare that someone so young would end up a federal criminal, because I used to be an FBI agent. Unfortunately, we once again have to go through Principal Vincent to even speak to Sarah. Oh god. I did a really weird voice for this one last time. I can't remember it. But I can, but I can't. Oh god. How did I do the voice? This is the problem. If I don't do it all in one session, I can't be consistent. And honestly, even in one session, I'm not necessarily consistent. Dan really likes coconut. There's a no coconut command that is the counterpoint to that. Hi, Leaky. Okay, Reese also likes coconut. It was a nasally high pitched. Now, can I do that again? How dare you bring this monster into my school, Sheriff Wright? Listen, you told us yourself that this man was the Heartbreaker Killer. Now you escort him into the only sanctuary the youth of Patel can rely upon, and...
Life is irrational.
Oh, sorry. The little robot faces are not clear. You're sad because it's rubbish face. Okay. So only Dan is a coconut fan. Everyone else is a no coconut fan. Two of your students disappeared a few days ago. And leaking. This is no sanctuary. What is he doing here, Sheriff Wright? We want to talk to Sarah again. I won't expose one of my students to this monster. Then tell us what you know about Jessica Murdoch, Principal Vincent. What?
I suppose.
I accept that you don't want me around your students, that's fair. I've been accused of terrible crimes. I did not commit these crimes, of course, but how could you know that for sure? Get to the point, August. That's okay, Leaky, I'm not disappointed. You don't want to let me see Sarah and ask her about Jessica, that's fine. Surely. You can be just as informative. I can. She was one of your students, wasn't she? And you only have about 140 students here, right? She was exceptional. She stood out, challenging the status quo. Surely you knew Jessica well. Well, I don't really. Yes, that is a very good point. I think my dad... I just left them for my dad or threw them out. Yeah, I'm not a huge Olive fan either.
Well...
You teach English too, don't you? Surely she was one of your students. She was smart. She had to be in a class with one of the two qualified teachers in all of Battail. It was a large class. You knew nothing about her. You couldn't help us answer a single question about her. I'm busy overseeing the school. Only 140 students, Principal. That's less than 2 lecture sessions for my undergrad class. What are you getting at?
Do go on.
Okay, tell me about Gary. What was Gary like? I didn't really have Gary in any of my classes, and... So tell me about Sarah Carpenter. Well, Sarah is a very well-behaved and very well-liked young woman. She... Now what about Bobby Richardson? Bobby is, well... If I remember right, Bobby Richardson is well-behaved and... That sounds disgusting, Mickey. I made him up. What?
Are you paying attention?
There is no Bobby Richardson. I should have let you dig your hole a little deeper, but I got excited. Well, just let us talk to Sarah. Visibly shaken, Principal Vincent hurries out of her own office. She doesn't even return with Sarah, instead letting the girl inside and staying out in the hall herself. Sheriff Wright, I already told you everything She stops short the second she sees August standing next to me. Oh, I know who you are. You're that man being held at the jail. Sarah, this is August Flynn. He's actually a professor of philosophy at Washington University in St. Louis. Finding Jessica is so important that I decided to let him out so he could help me. That is not precisely what happened, but close enough. He leans in, staring Sarah straight in the eyes. It's scary to me knowing him and what he's done. Sarah seems just a little puzzled by it.
Please.
Sarah, I need to know about the Battail Reclamation Society. You mean the Repatriation Society?
Marvelous.
Excellent. We've established that you've heard of it and neglected to mention it to my good friend Ms. Wright the other day. Sheriff Wright, thank you very much. I don't know what makes me bristle more, that he said we were good friends or that he called me Miss Wright. I don't know, can we slap him? Give him the balls? He deserves it, I have to say. I should get the hashtag thing up that Kara has, so people do hashtags. But his ploy was remarkably effective, so I say nothing. Do you have an explanation for this? Sarah looked at him sheepishly. It's just something I overheard Jessica saying once. I asked her what it was, and she made me swear never to tell anyone what I heard. When someone is missing and might be in danger, your promises to them don't mean anything. Yes, they do. What if Jessica doesn't want to be found?
I suppose.
She has a point, Erica. I want to snap back at him, but I realize it's better to let him build a rapport with Sarah. You might get more out of her if I'm the bad cop. Surely, with a name like that, you were curious about the Battail Repatriation Society. Surely you did some investigation of your own. Anything you found is your own research. It had nothing to do with your promise to Jessica, so there's no harm in telling us. I don't know. Okay. Why is new save? Okay. I'm just gonna let him keep going.
I believe.
You think you are protecting Jessica, but there is a fair chance that you are doing the exact opposite. She may be in danger.
Unfortunately.
You see, Sarah, not that long ago, I was accused of doing some very terrible things. And in order to defend myself, I had to learn as much as I could about the terrible things they accused me of doing. I want to roll my eyes out of my head. Here is the key. Sarah, the person that the government accused me of being had a very specific modus operandi. Do you know what modus operandi means, Sarah? Not really. Well, the simple definition is mode of operation. Is more accurately translated as a boundary of work that will be done. This is an important distinction when dealing with crime. You see, the simple definition frames the decisions of the criminal as a choice, whereas the true definition correctly frames it as a limitation. A criminal like the Heartbreaker Killer does not choose how he kills his victims. He is compelled to work within certain boundaries either by his own psyche or by the collective will of society. Where in the world are you going with this, August?
A priori.
A crime committed in broad daylight is a crime easily punished. The mores of society force crime into the shadows, and someone who wishes to hurt or kill another must lure their victim into these shadows. Yes, I mean, I have been watching like CSI type programs for so long, which I can have, you know, quite in-depth conversations about crimes that makes me sound like a serial killer. But I just like I like mysteries. Oh no, Dan, you have become the thing that you hate. Hashtag team hashtag. The Heartbreaker would identify his victims, find something they want, then lure them away from the light. I fear that the very same may have happened to your Jessica. This is a very small town, full of prying eyes. Someone who wanted to hurt Jessica would have to compel her away from those eyes, with the promise of something she wanted. I'm sounding more and more like the vampire Zeta. What if this is the goal of the so-called Battail Repatriation Society? Really think Jessica might be in trouble? If I wanted to hurt Jessica, this would be how I would secrete her away. Well, I did some research on my own. I asked around, just a bit. Didn't get anything concrete. But if they're connected to anyone, it's probably Freedom's Dawn. The survivalists? Look, I haven't had any trouble from them since the police uprising. Interesting. I've watched some of the I may be getting it mixed up with something else. I've watched quite a few sort of crime dramas. I like Luther. Killing Eve, I could only get so far through and then it upset me. And I don't remember if I watched The Bridge. If I did, it was a while ago. Yeah. The survivalists? Look, I haven't had any trouble from them since the police uprising. If they go after anyone, it's probably me, the FBI agent who's suddenly their sheriff. Why would they target some high school girl? I'm just telling you what I heard.
Don't be hasty.
Listen to what Sarah is saying, Erica. Just because your preconceptions cause you to doubt her, that doesn't mean she's wrong. I like how he talks. I mean, I know he's a serial killer, but I like how he talks. I'm not trying to protect Freedom's Dawn. If I'm being honest with both of you, they scare the shit out of me. In fact, I spent my first few years investigating groups like that, after Oklahoma City had us working overtime on them. That said, as far as I can tell, their members in Battail are practically the only ones content to be cut off from the rest of the world by the contingency. So yes, the contingency is what everyone started calling this situation, but no one knows why. So there's some weird thought control stuff going on. It's bizarre. Maybe that's just a cover. Seems strange you would be defending them. I'm not, it just seems mixed up, that's all. Still, thank you for your time, Sarah. This was helpful. I don't relish the idea, but it looks like I'll have to figure out how Freedom's Dawn fits into all of this. Do you think I was helpful, August?
Absolutely.
Of course you were, Sarah. Now go back to class. We'll let you know if I need anything else. She gets up and leaves. I need you to turn to August and give him a look. How the hell did you get to be the good cop? I've been told several of my students have developed a crush on me. I suspect it is because I hold a position of authority. I treat them as equals and I give them attention that is otherwise denied by others in their life who has similar or greater authority. You have to be kidding.
You have me all wrong.
Not that I would ever act on such a thing, but it is useful to know. You better not act on anything with Sarah. I wouldn't dare. Even if I was such a lecherous person, she's not my type. I prefer women my own age, and especially women in uniform. Beware. You're not even going to ask if I'm joking with you. I'll give you one thing. Just one. Battail Reclamation Society? Nice trick. Teenagers always want to prove they're equal or better to their elders. I knew her desire to correct me would overrule her sense to keep quiet. That's why I'm letting you tag along, not that other thing.
Is that so?
Yes, well, they were both useful. Shall we be going? We arrive at the cabin. I see that nothing on the exterior has changed. No one has been out here since Maddie and I investigated the first time.
Are you sure?
This is very near the tower line. Are you absolutely sure Jessica and Gary aren't out there? I did a very thorough check of the perimeter. It was the first thing I did. You didn't notice this cabin? I had no reason to think it was important. Fair enough. Let's see what's inside. Except the car outside. I feel like she should have noticed the cabin and the car outside. But she was looking outwards. We head into the cabin and August immediately gravitates towards the books on supernatural creatures near the bed. Don't worry about those, they're probably not important. Have you seen how small the Battail branch of the library is? I'll take any book I can get. Even silly ones about vampires and werewolves. They're probably even published by the Weekly World News.
Life is irrational.
Sometimes there is truth to be found in the fantastical, Erica. Fine, but first we're here to look at the attic. That's where I found Maddie. She said she cleaned it up. You want me to find what she missed? Despite what you insist, covering up violent crime is not something I have a lot of experience in. Nevertheless, I will do my best. He heads into the attic and I follow. I watch him as he examines the room, paying a good deal of attention to the roof on the left side. Take a look at this beam. What about it? It's chipped, ever so slightly. It's an old cabin. This is fresh damage, and note how the wood is a little bit rougher around the chip. You're stretching.
Are you paying attention?
This spot was scrubbed more than the rest of the beam, and the others were barely wiped down. What are you suggesting? I suspect there used to be a little bit of blood here, probably where someone hit their head or their arm based on the height, and Maddie scrubbed it away. That's all you've got. There are all sorts of ways this beam could have been damaged. But only one way it was damaged. I knew this would happen.
What?
What would happen? You can't stand not having anything to contribute. If you don't know something, you just make something up. What can I say? I like being useful. You like sounding smart.
Use your brain.
I will bet you that some kind of fight happened up here, either between Jessica and Gary or involving some third party. What are we going to bet? I win, you have to cook me dinner. You win, I have to cook you dinner. That sounds like I lose either way. How about if I win, you confess to the Heartbreaker murders?
Huh?
Even if I didn't commit them? Come on, August. It is actually tempting, because I find the possibility that you can prove a negative rather slight. But I must decline. I do not want to take on a bet if I cannot perform the conditions. Then you aren't very certain of your
I
conclusions?
suppose.
I'm certain that something happened up here that required cleanup, and I'm certain that the Patales instructed Maddie to perform that cleanup. However, I admit I may have extrapolated a bit. Though you have to admit it's strange she scrubbed that single chipped spot on the rafter until it was raw. It is worth considering. I believe that is all I can divine from this cabin. Shall we be going? Ow. I just turned my fan off. I'm getting cold. Before we reach the doors of the precinct, my heart in my throat, I scan the horizon, half expecting more towers to rise from the ground or something even worse. Instead, I just see the normal hills and trees. Did that sound like a rifle to you?
Guns aren't my forte.
Maddie runs out the
Oh
precinct.
god, you're back! Did you hear that sound?
Now they voice them. I'm not deaf.
It didn't come from the woods. And I don't think there's much game to hunt anyway.
I think it came from the train station. It's probably nothing, but I should check it out just in case.
Oh, right. The train was supposed to come in today.
I'm coming with you.
I'm coming too.
I want to argue with both of them, but I don't have the energy. Fine. Maddie, lock up the precinct, then let's go. We found that a mob has surrounded the train. Batale is a small town, but at least 100 people have gathered around the tracks today. Its population 762 or 764 or something. A whole bunch of them died, but still quite a lot in this town. A few people tried to climb a supply car, while Batale guards fight them off, but the biggest commotion surrounds the door from which supplies are unloaded. I glimpsed Julian standing on a secluded section of the platform, watching a disturbance just a few feet away. Several of Julian's guards and twice as many townsfolk struggled to take possession of a small shoebox. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to imitate the voices to the best of my ability. I feel like maybe it's like main plot points that are in every storyline, and anything things that are maybe not on every storyline are not voiced, but I don't know. Make way, coming through! I yell and shove my way through the crowd, but my progress is slow. This is Sheriff Wright, make way! I don't think anyone can hear my voice over the commotion. So I try to push past one large man. He responds by shoving me to the ground. His blow takes me by surprise and knocks the wind out of me.
Hey! Hands up!
I didn't know that Maddie was so close to me, but she leaps towards the large man, startling me even more.
Take that!
Maddie sweeps her foot behind the man's legs while shoving his sternum. He topples backwards, taking someone else in the crowd with him.
That's better.
Maddie's hand reaches towards mine.
I've got your back, boss.
I grip her hand in a state of disbelief as she pulls me to my feet. She seems to be so happy to have helped me. I struggle with how to respond. I'm just gonna say thanks. I guess you weren't kidding about that brown belt. Yeah. Was it partially voiced then? Because I remember you doing a lot of reading in that game.
Sure wasn't.
I appreciate the help. Let's keep moving. I realise I've lost track of August, but I can't worry about that right now. After a lot more yelling and shoving, I finally reached the crowd fighting over the shoebox. Oh yeah, they sneak shoebox onto the train with letters to see if it'll go out. So I'm guessing if the shoebox is back, they want to see how and why. Among them I see Stacy. She looks at me with a mixture of relief and embarrassment.
Erica! Oh, thank God you're here! Oh, we have to get that box.
Calm down. I thought there was an angry robot in the train window behind her. I realise it's probably crates of stuff, but it looked like an angry robot. Calm down. What's in that box?
Something. It doesn't matter what, but something. It's a miracle. The box returned to us with something inside of it.
The significance of what has happened starts to dawn on me. I don't have time to dwell on it now. A man exchanged blows with one of the Battail guards. Afterwards, the townsperson finally managed to rip the box from the guard's grip. The guard lifts his gun and fires. The noise rattles my head and explodes stars in my vision. I also glimpse a splash of blood. The crowd ebbs back. The man who grabbed the shoebox is lying on the ground, blood streaming from his shoulder. The shoebox falls from his grip. It breaks open. A piece of paper flutters out. There! Grab it! Everyone, stop! No one listens. Everyone's attention locks on the lone piece of fluttering paper. Everyone tries to grab it, even me. Yeah, it was a lot of words. I think it's okay with the visual novels like this one. There's words, but not overly wordy. There was one that was. It was like Winter's Daydream or Language of Love, where there was a lot of words. But this seems to be fairly balanced. I see a dark blur on the edge of my vision, moving faster than I can comprehend. Someone else snatches the paper and pulls back from the crowd. It's Charlotte Battail. I don't even know where she came from, but now she's here. She captures everyone's attention. She holds the letter high and saunters back and forth on the platform.
Settle down, folks. No need to worry. I've secured the letter. If you keep fighting over this, you'll rip it to shreds. Then everyone loses.
Everyone stops to watch Charlotte with bated breath. I'm both grateful that Charlotte has managed to calm everyone and flustered she managed to do what I could not. Charlotte Battail, I need you to explain what's happening here.
Oh, is that you, Sheriff? What a convenient time for you to arrive. Maybe if you had arrived a little sooner, a man wouldn't be bleeding out on the ground right now.
One of your guards shot him. I saw it happen. We'll discuss the punishment for that soon enough.
Punishment? That guard maintained order. If not for that gunshot, I wouldn't be holding this letter right now.
This excites the crowd again. People yell and shake their fists. Tell us what it says! Give it back! That letter belongs to the Order of the Line!
Settle down, settle down! The way I see it, this letter belongs to all the people of Battail, which is why I'll read it aloud for everyone to hear.
Charlotte, wait! The crowd yells and boos as I step forward to confront Charlotte. We don't know where that letter really came from. We shouldn't read it until we can confirm it's not a prank.
A prank? I don't see how that's possible. It was on the train when it returned from beyond the perimeter, Sheriff. These good townsfolk saw it unloaded with their very own eyes.
Yes, but you also move very, very fast. And you're in control of the train. Nothing comes back after crossing the perimeter. That's impossible.
No one knows the difference between possible and impossible, Sheriff. Not anymore.
The Chowd Criz. Oh, good. The crowd cheers. Charlotte grins at me with sugary satisfaction. She knows I can't win here. She holds up the letter and clears her throat.
People of Battail, it is with great honor and humility that I write to you now from the world beyond the towers. I, Jessica Murdoch, have escaped Battail with my beloved partner, Gary Reed.
It's a plant. Gasps sweep across the crowd. My heart freezes in my chest.
I have sworn an oath not to explain how I achieved liberation, nor what I know of the world outside Battail. But I can tell you this, it is all thanks to the Battail Repatriation Society. I received this great blessing by following their instructions. Perhaps if you are deemed worthy, you can receive the same blessing.
Yeah, mystery solved.
If so, I look forward to seeing you in the world beyond.
Charlotte folds up the letter and stuffs it in her
And
jacket.
that's all she wrote. How wonderful! Let's celebrate Battail. Jessica and Gary have repatriated.
Charlotte turns on her head and heels and saunters away. She disappears into the station
So it's
building.
true. It is possible to escape the towers.
The crowd breaks into cheers. My stomach squeezes into a fist. No, it isn't, Stacy. We still need to confirm the source of that.
Repatriate! Repatriate!
Repatriate! Repatriate! Repatriate! I don't know who started the chant, but it's growing, spreading through the crowd. No! Please listen to me. Nothing has changed. Those towers will still slaughter anyone who tries to walk past until I can confirm that letter's origins. Repatriate! 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 My voice is lost completely. The people are celebrating and they don't want to listen. I feel panic rising in my gut. This reminds me of what happened a few months ago to the cops who thought they could leave. I don't have time to dwell on that awful memory because I see Julian and his guards loading the wounded man onto a stretcher. I hurry towards them. Where are you taking this man?
To receive medical care, of course.
I feel like there's something off about Julian. He's fidgety and hyper-alert. His eyes blaze more intensely than usual. Probably because there's a man bleeding and he's a vampire. I'll handle this. He should see Nurse Kathleen.
You want to put him in her joke of a hospital? That building still reeks of the animals it sheltered before she took ownership. No. We'll take him to the mansion and call for Nurse Kathleen from there.
I can't allow you to do that. My hand moves to my gun. Julian and all of his guards stop moving to watch me closely.
Really? I beg to differ.
Right.
I think the easiest thing for you to do right now would be to drop this whole issue and return to the police station.
And the same guard who shot the civilian now has his hand around his gun. Despite myself, I'm scared. I'm outnumbered here. If this came to a fight, there's no way I'd win. Someone steps up beside me. To my surprise, it's Maddie. She's trembling, but her eyes burn with resolve.
Julian, this is the sheriff you're talking to.
I'm well aware of that, Madeline. I'm also aware that the title of sheriff only contains so much power as the people deign to give it. I strongly advise you not put that power to the test.
He leans a little closer to me, lowering his voice.
Erica, I know you only want to help, and I appreciate that, I do.
His eyes flick briefly to Charlotte, then back to me.
But this is not the time. Your posturing will only cause more chaos.
Alright, I dislike being told what to do like some kind of puppy. I am gonna keep arguing. You and your guards wounded this man. I have no reason to believe that you won't harm him further.
Well, you can believe that I'm not stupid. If I did something to him now, then you'd surely find out. How's that for my assurance?
Can't stop yawning. Sorry, everyone.
The longer we stand here arguing, the more that man bleeds out. It's quite a waste.
I need to get his name and contact info. You'd better believe I'll check in on him soon.
As you should.
Once I gather the information, I watch Julian and his guards take the wounded man away. My stomach churns into knots. All illusions of control are unraveling around me. The same crowd that once tried to climb the train and fight the guards now celebrates the news of Jessica and Gary's repatriation. The Order of the Line, wearing caps in the style of traditional railroad conductors, gather in a large circle and chant together. I see Stacy among them wearing her own cap. Someone puts a hand on my shoulder. I turn to see Maddie.
I know this didn't go how you wanted, Erica, but it's good news, right? Jessica and Gary escaped after all.
Do you really believe that, Maddie? All because of one flimsy piece of paper?
But it came straight from the train.
The Battelle family supervises that train. They could have staged this whole thing.
What? Why would they do something like that?
I don't know, Maddie. Since you claim to know them, why don't you tell me? The crowd is dispersing, the chaos is subsiding, but somehow I feel worse than when I arrived here. Do you know where August went?
I don't know. I think he split off as soon as you went into the crowd.
Damn that slippery bastard.
Ah, speak of the devil.
Excuse me?
I was just telling Liam what a strong, hard-working sheriff you are.
And I'm inclined to agree, but, Erica.
Liam looks at August with obvious disgust.
Is this man really your partner?
Well, I don't know if I'd use the word partner.
We're absolutely partners.
You don't like Maddie, but you're happy to work with the Heartbreaker?
I'm not the Heartbreaker. There is no Heartbreaker. That nickname is absurd.
Drop it, this is not the time. Do either of you have any idea what just happened on that platform?
I heard Charlotte giving a speech. Was it important?
She claims a letter arrived with the train just now.
Arrived.
Supposedly it travelled here from the outside world.
Oh, are you serious? That's amazing. But why do you say claimed? Did you see it?
I glimpsed it. Charlotte read it to everyone.
That's great news.
But I never got a chance to examine the letter myself. It could be fake, planted to derail my investigation.
Maybe I can help. I can talk to Charlotte about the letter for you. Maybe retrieve it.
I'll appreciate that, but I'd also like to investigate the train car in which the letter arrived.
Well, for security reasons, that's impossible.
I am the sheriff.
Yes, but there are rules. Julian... well...
I glance at August, curious what he thinks of all this, but he's staring into space, deathly pale. August, are you alright?
Hmm?
I was wondering if everything is okay.
Oh, I'm fine.
I don't think I've ever heard him lie so badly before.
I'll talk to Charlotte myself. Goodbye.
And just like that, he walks off. I watch after him in a state of bafflement.
Why is he called a Heartbreaker anyway?
August? Well, when he kills, he removes the hearts from his victims, then pins them down with a knife.
Yeesh. While they're alive?
Oh, hey Scruff! Thanks so much for the resub. Really appreciate it. 15 months as well. Blimey. Blimey. I just can't believe it's been 15 months No worries. You look away. I hope your head doesn't hurt soon. Stops hurting soon. But yeah. If you need to look. Lurking is good. No, the heart is removed post-mortem.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I have no idea how serial killers think, but I would assume they kill for the thrill of it, or something like that.
You're a vampire. Doesn't that literally make you a serial killer? Your assumption is largely correct, but criminals are the heroes of their own story. They'll always try to excuse their actions in some fashion. The Heartbreaker seemed to think he served a large purpose by killing people and removing their hearts. He created grotesque displays of his victims after their death. He drew symbols on the ground in their blood using some foreign language.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, you probably didn't want quite so many details.
It's okay. I was curious. Because if that man really is the Heartbreaker, I'd like to know who I'm dealing with.
It's okay, I think you can take him. You're a vampire, even if you're a very nice, naive one.
How can you possibly work with someone like that anyway?
Ask your sister. He claims he's innocent.
And you believe him?
No. don't know why I'm making a save every time I have a decision. It's habit, really. No, of course I don't. No, he can play nice all he wants, but I know that August is the heartbreaker.
That's my feeling too, but I'm glad to know that someone like you is keeping an eye on him. Besides, I think only a serial killer would act so casually about chasing my sister.
Yes, your sister, the vampire. He laughs a little, but I don't think he's entirely joking.
So, what's next for you?
I'll take whatever actions are necessary to retrieve that letter.
I told you I'd ask Charlotte about that.
Yes, but I mean in case it doesn't work.
Come on, you should be celebrating.
Maybe, but...
No buts. You're gonna do something fun tonight. Something to relax and forget about work.
Okay. Can I do you?
Tell me something. Do you ever take off that sheriff badge? Other than when you put your PJs on. Like, ever?
Well, I have to admit he has a point.
That's what I thought.
Fine. So you tell me something. What fun am I supposed to have in this goddamn fucking town?
First of all, ouch. I have to admit, I share the town's name, so I can't help but take that a little personally. Secondly, I have an idea of something fun we could do.
Where? I'm all ears.
No. This is better off as a surprise.
I hate surprises.
You also seem to hate fun. Maybe it's time for a change?
What exactly do you want me to do then?
I want you to meet me somewhere.
He gives me some directions to an area in Invertale. What's in this area other than a few abandoned buildings?
I guess you'll just have to come find out.
Right. Sounds amazing and not at all creepy. Out of stock. We've only had 2 redeems this stream, I think. I think I just put it on a cooldown because otherwise people do hydrate every 3 seconds. I'll hydrate anyway. And then I run out of tea and then I have to pee. My thoughts went to laser tag, to be fair. Yes. I am nearly out of tea though, so next hydrate I will have to make some more.
Sarcasm. Nice. I'm going to take that as a good sign.
Behind me the crowd is dispersing, but I still occasionally hear the word repatriation shouted to the sky. Listen, I should get back to work.
So should I. But then we're both going to relax. See you there at 8 o'clock?
Fine. I make my way through the dispersing crowd until I find Maddie.
Erica! There you are. Is something wrong?
Of course something's wrong. Based on a flimsy piece of paper I didn't get to examine, people have hoped that they can leave town again.
Is hope such a bad thing?
It is when it results in heads literally exploding.
So, I guess this means you're not ready to close the case?
You're damn right I'm not.
Good.
Her response surprises me. You're not going to try and talk me out of it?
Well, I do think it'd be nice to celebrate a little. I want to believe that Jessica and Gary really are safe somewhere out there. But I also want to keep working the case with you. I'm afraid you'll fire me once it's over.
I study Maddie for a moment. She proved useful today and she sounds sincere. I have to remember how all this started. Yeah, I think she was hypnotized. But I figure as long as she doesn't have any more bandages, she might be helpful. I appreciated your help today, as long as you don't make another mistake like the one in the cabin.
I really don't know what came over me that day. I'll keep doing better, I swear.
I mean, it's not too many times leaky. It's always appreciated to remind me to hydrate. But when you lose sense of time, it can feel like I'm continuously being told to hydrate. But yeah, I forget what cooldown I set it on. We can probably check actually. I'm curious now, because I set it up a while ago. It's literally a 10-minute cooldown. It's like there's like barely any restriction. It's because it's only 10 points, so you don't need much to redeem it. But yeah, every 10 minutes is too much, but yeah, that's not a bad cooldown. It must have been, yeah. Well, it depends on how I make it. Good, because if that's true, I could really use the help.
No shit. Your partner is an accused murderer. If I can't rise above that bar, then we're all in trouble.
Maddie falls silent for a moment. For some reason, she looks down at her elbow and touches it gently. I made tree out of bark. Tree? Tea. Tea out of bark earlier. My rhubarb tea was bark. Lapsong? Lapoche, Pash, some sort of red tree bark. It's very nice. No, there's definitely been a couple. Hydrate at 2054, which was probably why you couldn't do it. Yeah, I think I hydrated myself as well. I've hydrated myself twice. But yeah, 2054, so... yeah. That was when the last one was. I'm not sure there was another one, but I didn't see it in the chat history. I mean, to be fair, I can look in my actual log. 14 minutes ago. Well, there's only been one hydrate. But it just happened to be 14 minutes ago, so whenever it was you went to do it, it would have been in with a 10-minute cooldown. Yes, I remember how her elbow was bandaged when she first came to the precinct. Is something wrong?
No. Yes. I want to talk to you about something. Something I've been thinking.
Someone gonna mention vampires. Do you know something about Jessica and Gary?
No. I guess it's more about me. But it might be important. Maybe. Unless I'm just imagining things.
You're not making it a very strong case.
I know, I'm sorry. I don't want to waste your time.
Look, I'm still on the job. We need to make sure that none of these happy idiots feel inspired to cross the towers. Understand? I'm going to patrol the perimeter, and if you really want to help, you should too.
Okay, I will.
No, tell me your thing first. Because I feel sure you're going to tell me that you think they're vampires. Ha! Jesse. We're talking about tea, but sure. High tempo. Maybe we can talk about that. Talk after that.
Really?
I'm supposed to meet Liam around 8. I might not have time until after.
You're meeting Liam? I thought you were dating Julian.
We went out one day. I'm not dating either of them. I'm using whatever chance I can get to get information from them.
Oh, good. Then I can wait until you get back from your meeting.
Fine. I'll meet you back at the precinct later tonight. Then we'll talk.
Sounds good.
Hopefully you're not dead by then, because that would be bad. It did say bark. My tree was made out of bark. Before the workday's over, I need to follow up on one more lead. Freedom's Dawn. Sarah thought they might have been connected to the Battail Repatriation Society. Whether Jessica and Gary repatriated or not, I need to look into how Freedom's Dawn might be connected to their disappearance. Up until now, I've avoided the members of Freedom's Dawn at any cost. After the police uprising, they were the only ones who objected to making me Battail's sheriff. It didn't matter to Freedom's Dawn that I was the only qualified person left. I was an outsider. Worse, I was a Fed. Fortunately, they were happy to stay out of my way as I was to stay out of theirs. In some ways, they're the only ones somewhat happy about the contingency. Maybe because they thought it proved them right. How you doing, Jessie? Whatever their reasons, I know I finally have to talk to them. They know something about Jessica I have to find out. So I approach the doorstep of their leader, Thomas Wagner. Or Wagner. I knock, and as soon as he opens the door, he shoots me a withering look.
Agent Wright, what are you doing here?
He's voiced. Good. I'm sure you've heard that Jessica Murdoch is missing.
Yes, and her boyfriend.
I
What does that
got
have
no
to do with
achievement!
me?
Supposedly, she was involved with something called the Battail Repatriation Society.
Still don't see why you're at my doorstep.
I want to know if Freedom's Dawn is also involved.
So, you're finally coming for me and my brothers.
No, we literally if you're not involved, we'll leave you alone. I didn't say anything like that. I'm here looking for clues about 2 missing teenagers. Jessica's friend Sarah thought she might have something to do with the Battail Repatriation Society.
Well, Sarah should keep her mouth shut. I thought those kids got out of Battail anyway.
And you can't possibly believe they made it past the towers.
I don't know what I believe anymore. What I can tell you is that I had nothing to do with whatever happened to them. So if you're trying to wrap this around as a reason to cause trouble for me and my brothers, we ain't gonna make it easy for you here in Battail.
I'm not going after you or your brothers, Thomas.
Please, call me Tip.
For some reason, that puts me over the edge. I was trying to be nice, but that just can't last. So, Tip, what are you in Freedom's Dawn even about anymore?
Huh?
What do survivalists do after the world ends?
We are not survivalists, Agent Wright. We are a local group that protects the interests of our community.
From what? Nothing outside of Battail can even reach us. What's your group's single issue? Taxes? The IRS isn't coming. Guns? You have what's here in the city, but no more are coming or being taken by anyone. Chemtrails? Even planes don't fly over Battail anymore, so what are you so worried about?
We're worried about you, Agent Wright. Your illegal and unprecedented takeover of local law enforcement.
Yeah, I saw you were playing Super Metroid last night. After the Zelda run. Are you doing speed runs? Because, God, I remember maybe that was the first Metroid. I remember it taking quite a while to play the game, so if you're going to be doing speed runs of Super Metroid, that's interesting. Local law enforcement went and blew themselves up like idiots. It tells me that maybe I've gone too far. Look, if there were a way for me to leave Battail and leave you alone forever, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You have no reason to be scared of me.
We're not scared of you, Agent Wright. We know what we can do about you if we have to. And you wanted to know what we still do? We prepare for what's next. You think those towers are gonna protect us forever? One day, they'll go dark. Or they'll go down. And we'll have to be ready for what's on the other side.
What do you think that is?
The feds. Your people. What else would require this level of protection?
I disagree that the towers are protecting us, but...
You have no idea what you're talking about. The last 20 years, you monsters have been waging a war against Battail and all sorts of towns like it. Now your people can't touch us, can't turn us into whatever it is you think we're supposed to be. And I bet they're furious.
I won't even begin to speculate on what's happening outside of the towers, but I doubt anyone in Washington is particularly angry they can't meddle with Battail, Missouri right now.
Seems I know our government better than you do. Not surprising.
This isn't going anywhere. Let me just ask you point blank. Do you know anything about the Battail Repatriation Society?
No. Now will you leave me alone?
Sure. With pleasure. Learning the route. Cool! I mean, how fast can you do a speed run of Super Metroid? After I talked to Wagner, it's time to meet up for Liam at the mystery spot he described. It's an outdoor theatre! Whenever I walked by this area in the past, it looked like a dump. I didn't give it a second thought. Now a spark of life has returned to the place. Cheerful lights form a ring around the field. A young man attends the concession stand, and the smell of popcorn brushes my nose.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Oh god, I've got to do his voice now. I'm confused. Is this a drive-in theatre? It is a drive-in theatre, ready to put on a show for your viewing pleasure. But I'd never seen it in business before. It went out of business a while back, but it has some life in it. Life provided by Battail money.
Think of it this way.
Well, what's money for, if not for having fun? It's for food and shelter and, well, who the hell knows anymore? Before long, the US dollar will be meaningless to anyone in Battail. That's the spirit! Now let's go get some popcorn! I follow Liam to the stand to get some popcorn. I find myself stuffing my mouth with it, then realising I haven't eaten since noon. And we had eggs and soggy bacon. Liam leads us to a single truck parked in the middle of the field. Is this your truck?
Well...
Sorta. I asked Gary Lewis to let me borrow it. Can't enjoy a drive-in movie without a good vehicle to lounge on. I see blankets and pillows inside the back of the truck. It looks surprisingly comfy. As I climb inside with Liam, however, I find myself blushing. It feels strangely like I'm getting in a bed with him. Is this setup normal for a drive-in?
Not so sure.
I just wanted to be comfortable. I try my best to get comfortable despite the unexpected sensation of intimacy, and I resume eating my popcorn as if it gives me a shield. Do you want some popcorn?
Good to go.
He leans out of the truck and waves at someone. The larger screen of the drive-in flickers to life. So what are we watching?
This is awesome.
Lost Boys. You ever seen it? No, but I've heard of it. Isn't it about vampires or something? Yeah, is that okay with you? I shrug. Fantasy is nice sometimes. It helps me forget about the trouble of real life. Fantasy. Fantasy, right! Although since the contingency, it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. Hey, I'm trying to get in the mood for this, alright? Righty right. Sorry, shutting up now. We both settle in as the movie starts up. Before long, the movie captivates me. I didn't really expect that to happen. After all, it's a silly movie about vampires. Yet I'm completely sucked in. Every once in a while, Liam tries to make conversation, but I shush him quickly. I don't like to talk during a movie. When it's over, I lean back against the truck and contemplate the film.
Erica.
So, what do you think? I really enjoyed it up until the end.
Ugh.
I know, right? The ending is terrible. All the vampires mindlessly getting slaughtered, that's just depressing. Like, couldn't they have all made peace or somehow? I don't know about that. How can predators make peace with their prey? That's not how the world works. The ending was bad because it was very, very cheesy. That too. But ending aside, it's a pretty fun movie, isn't it? To my own surprise, I found myself nodding. Yes, that was fun. For just a little while, I forgot about the towers, about Jessica and Gary, about that letter. As I recall what I managed to forget, anxiety creeps back into my stomach like icy water. Sensing my predicament, Liam interrupts.
I love this!
I've probably seen that movie a dozen times and I still love it. Dozen times? Really? Well, I don't have many options around here. I don't think I've seen any movie a dozen times. I admit I enjoyed it, but it helped a lot that those Lost Boys were easy on the eyes. I wasn't a fan of the ghoulish makeup used whenever they transformed into vampires.
Well...
Yeah, not the best look, but it's fitting, you know. They get overcome with bloodlust and start killing people. That shouldn't be pretty. His gaze wanders, and now he's the one who seems distracted by an unpleasant thought. So why do you love the movie so much?
I'm not sure.
I guess I relate to Michael, the main character. I suppose the transformation from human to vampire is a good coming-of-age metaphor. Right, exactly. A transformation like that is confusing. I also love how the little brother keeps fighting for Michael, even when he realizes Michael is a vampire. A relationship like that is what should have saved Michael in the end, not a dumb death sequence of the lead vampire getting crushed by a car. I think you're interpreting the film a bit too literally.
Maybe.
Probably right. It's a silly movie. Totally unrealistic. It's not like I'm a vampire and my two siblings are vampires that probably were the ones that turned me. I mean, those vampires can fly. Isn't that creepy? I would love to fly. An hour and a half to complete the... Blimey, Jesse. Does it have glitches like Zelda 1? That's interesting. It's the second one, Super Metroid, isn't it? Not the first. I don't think I've seen the second one. At all. Well, except obviously from what you were playing, but I didn't... The third, okay, right. But I wasn't paying massive amounts of attention, sorry. I'll have to try and catch you next run. Maybe if we could fly, we could get over the towers. I stiffen. You can't fly over the towers. If that was the case, we would have seen airplanes pass through.
What?
There probably aren't any more airplanes. What do you mean?
Whatever.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows, but birds come in and out, don't they? I don't see the point of this discussion.
Well...
Okay, so we can't fly. There's no point in discussing that, but it still makes me wonder. We'll never find a way out of here if we don't consider any possibility. Every possibility. Stop! This is not something you get to test because you're curious. Everyone who tries to leave dies. What about vampires? Have vampires tried to leave? Well, everyone who tries to walk out dies, but... There is no but. There is nothing else to discuss. All he did was try and look at the sensor. All he did was try and examine it and... Hi, Lady Marguerite! My heart races. Sweat prickles across my brow. His head was just gone. It was gone. 1 minute he was working with me, smiling at me, and then... I'm not sure what's happening to me. I feel as if I'm back down the night of the contingency, watching Jones approach the tower.
Erica.
I'm sorry. There is no sorry. There is no regret. It's not a matter of It's not a matter of trial and error. You try to leave and you die. It's as simple as that.
I'm so sorry.
Sheriff Miller thought he could leave. He thought he could blow up the tower. He convinced all the other police officers to help him. I tried to stop them. I tried to talk them out of it, but then they all died too. Tears run down my cheeks. I can't stop them. The grief washes over me in an unstoppable way.
Please.
It wasn't your fault. You did everything you could. But people still don't understand. People still try to leave, and then I find their headless corpse at the perimeter. Do you ever look at the town sign near the edge of town? The one that lists our population? Not really, no. Well, I do. I update that population number when people in this town die. The population used to be 729. Now, it's 656. That's because people still try to leave. He stays silent and I'm glad. I don't want to argue about this. I don't want him to tell me everything's alright. I want him to accept the truth as I have. He leans towards me, his eyes gentle, querying. He seems to silently ask whether I want a hug. I want a hug. There's no use trying to hold back now. I'm already weeping and I don't want to talk about it. I lean against him and let his arms wrap around me. I don't like to feel this pain. That's why it's called pain. It hurts and it's agony. And yet there is something good about letting it out, or at least sharing it with the person. Did I accidentally take a screenshot? Did I not save? Did I take a screenshot instead? Never mind. The longer I lean against him, clutching his shirt, the more I feel as if my pain drains away, leaving me lighter in his absence. I lose track of how long I sit there holding him, but eventually my tears stop. I realise his shirt is wet and cold where I cried on it. I also noticed that Liam's body is very stiff against mine. At first he cradled me while I cried. Now his hands are pulled back, his arms rigid. I lean back and try and wipe the sticky grief from my face. I'm sorry.
Please.
Don't be sorry. But his voice is strange, distant, and won't meet my surprised. He stares down into the bed of the truck. I'm glad I could give you a shoulder to cry on, at least. This isn't like me. I'm not the sort of person who cries.
Erica.
Everyone cries. It's not something to be ashamed of, and do you feel better now? Yes, a little bit. Good. Then especially don't be sorry. I still can't shake the feeling that I made him uncomfortable somehow. You alright? I'm fine. Totally just got a cramp in my foot, that's all. Oh, he wanted to bite her neck. Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid. I want to understand the towers, but only because I want to keep the town safe like you do. Besides, I like it here in Battail. My family is here, the mansion, my books and my tools are all here, and so are you. I'm in no hurry to leave any of that behind. The warmth of his voice surprises me. It's hard for me to imagine that anyone would be content to stay here. I check my pocket watch. Shit, this took too long. I'm supposed to meet Maddie back at the precinct.
Oh no.
You need a ride? No, I'm used to walking these days.
Whatever.
It just seems that you're in a hurry. I'll be fine. Anyway, this was nice. I enjoyed the movie. But now I have to get back to work. I'll start to walk away.
Hey!
Erica, don't work too hard, okay? And if you ever want to take a break... I glanced back long enough to give him a parting wave. I know who to call. How are you doing, Lady McGree? How's Deke? When I reach the precinct, I find most of the lights are turned off. I don't see Maddie anywhere. I wonder... She's gonna be dead. Whether she left me a note, so I turn the light back on. Okay. Maybe she's dead. Maybe she's dead and her heart's been cut out and pinned to the floor. Because someone is now framing August. That's what I'm thinking. And then jump with surprise and reach for my gun because someone is sitting at my desk. August? His face is flushed, his eyes glazed over. A half-empty bottle of bourbon sits on the desk next to him.
Why, hello there, Sheriff Wright.
Ooh, drunk August. What are you doing here, August?
Contemplating the complexities of the universe. Or perhaps the lack thereof.
You're drunk.
Not drunk enough.
He takes another swig from the bottle. Belatedly, I see a large sledgehammer on the floor next to him. I reach for my gun again. What the hell is that?
I tried to break the ceiling.
Of course. August!
Oh, give me a fucking break. You work every day in this miracle of nature and you ignore it. Before the contingency, people say this was a simple, one-story building with a handful of rooms. Now it looks like a skyscraper from the outside, but on the inside it looks like it always did before. And no one can get to the upper floors.
I know all of this.
Why doesn't it drive you crazy?
There's an edge to his voice that sends a chill down my spine. I keep my hand on my gun while stepping away from him.
All these days I spent locked in that cell. I wondered what would happen if someone tried to break through the ceiling. Why didn't you ever try, Erica?
People used ladders to reach the windows on the second floor, then tried to break them. It didn't work. They were impenetrable and no one could see through the glass. I glance up at the ceiling. I assume your attempt was equally futile.
I didn't even shake off a speck of dust, but I had to try. Why didn't you try, Erica?
It might be like the towers. Even if you found the threshold, it might kill you once you cross.
So you're afraid. A strong, stern sheriff who reaches for a gun at every opportunity is too afraid to take a step into the dark.
He keeps moving towards me. I cock my gun and aim it straight at him. Not another step, August. He grins at me, and then takes another step. I aim for the ceiling and fire. The next few seconds are a blur. I know I only pulled the trigger once, but I seem to hear multiple gunshots, one after the other. Based on the sounds of shattering, I must have broken quite a few items with my frantic stunt. Even when it's over, the first noise echoes in my head with an intensity that leaves me dizzy. And then I hear August laughing.
Nice try, Sheriff. A noble effort indeed.
I follow his gaze around the office. I know I aimed at the ceiling, but it seems that the bullet I fired struck everywhere except the ceiling. Hey, no worries, Daisy. Thanks so much for stopping by. You rest your eyes and your ankle. I will catch you next time. It ricocheted?
Such powerful deduction, too. What an amazing sheriff.
That's it. I'm putting you back in your cell.
Go ahead. That's probably why I came here, anyway. I probably wanted you to.
My stomach clenches into a fist. You wanted me to?
I'm trying so hard to be a good boy, but I was feeling rather naughty.
Be straight with me, August. What are you saying?
You know what I'm saying.
He heaves a sigh and returns to the bottle of bourbon. Who the did he kill?
Put me up for the night. I'll just ask Charlotte to get me out in the morning.
I recall that when I last saw him, he went looking for Charlotte. Did you talk to Charlotte after the train incident?
Talked to her? Oh, yes, I talked to her. And a few other things, too.
Oh, so I guess the two of you are... He laughs harder.
I'm blushing. Oh, it's adorable. Such a lovely shade of pink. Oh, no, I'm not sleeping with Charlotte. Not yet. And I'm not sure I want it to go that far. Standards are quite low, you know. I'm quite sure she fucks her own brother.
What? Liam?
Nope. Julian.
Is that what's bothering you right now?
Everything about Charlotte bothers me. And it should bother you, too.
Yes, because she's a vampire.
She's got this entire town wrapped around her pinky finger, like a strand of her beautiful hair. I think she might even be responsible for it.
Jessica and Gary?
She bothers me, Erica. She bothers me very much.
A long, uncomfortable silence follows his words. Till finally...
Are you going to lock me up or not?
Yeah, I possibly did a screenshot instead of actually saving at the hug by the looks of the timestamps. Guess I'm a muppet. Should we lock him up or let him go? What do we reckon? I'll let you have a think, and I'm going to have a quick tea break. Because I'm out of tea. So I'll be back in a few minutes. The choices are lock him up, let him go. Team Black Void. Well, no one said anything. I think Charlotte's more likely to be angry with us if we lock him up. I'm tempted to let him go, because we don't know what he's done. You don't lock someone up for being drunk unless they've done something. I've got a Kit Kat. I won't lock you up this time. After all, you haven't done anything, and you want me to lock you up, which strikes me as suspicious.
Why would that be suspicious?
Don't know. Maybe you planned something already and you want to be locked here so you have an alibi.
I rarely plan that far ahead.
If you want to get drunk, August, do it somewhere else. I'm getting out of here and so are you. I saw your house after the last time you got drunk. I won't let you do that to the office.
Fair enough.
I heave a weary sigh and make my way out. It's been a very long day. Where's Maddie? But it's not over yet. Maddie really wanted to talk about something and now it's bothering me. I should check on her. Now we find her dead body with her heart out, right? Knock on the door. Wait. Knock again. No response. It's strange. The lights are on inside, and I see her car parked in the driveway. No. I see two cars parked in the driveway. I hesitate. Whatever's going on here is probably none of my business. Maybe Maddie's spending time with a friend, or maybe... I heard muffled voices inside. They're distant, but loud enough to reach my ears. I step lightly to the window, then peer inside. I see two dark shapes further in. I need to move to a different window to get a better view. So I do. I creep around the house and sidle up to the window. Careful glance inside shows me her guest is Julian. And if I lean a little closer, I can hear what they're saying.
Must have had something to do with it. You met with Jessica, didn't you? Shortly before she disappeared.
I met with her once. What of it? She hounded me with letters about the train. I thought if I agreed to meet her in person, she would be satisfied.
So, was she satisfied?
You could say that, yes. I convinced her to leave the matter alone.
And you never saw her again?
Have you discussed any of this with Erica?
No, I didn't remember any of it until this morning.
Good. No reason to give her ideas. In any case, it's not important. It's a small town. Of course I met with Jessica once. Why wouldn't I?
I'm just so confused. What's wrong with my memories? It's like everything's scrambled since the last time I saw you.
Have you been using again?
No, of course not.
Then why did I find these in your kitchen?
Pulls out a vial of liquid and a syringe.
No, you didn't. I don't know where you got those.
Julian seems to hesitate.
You're a strong girl, Maddie. You broke the habit once, and I admire you for that. I'd prefer to keep your head clear. Things would be so much easier that way. Your behavior in the cabin was sloppy.
My behavior in the cabin? What are you talking about?
Never mind. You're too honest for your own good, Madeline.
I need you to explain this, Julian. Why did I clean up that cabin? Do you know why?
Look into my eyes, Maddie.
No! Don't! She stares at him.
Do you trust me?
No!
Not really. No.
Fine. Let me rephrase. I helped you once. Isn't that true?
Yes. I'll never forget that. You gave me a job when no one else would. If it wasn't for you.
Good. Good.
He moves a little closer to Maddie. He reaches up to brush some hair from her face. I know Maddie once said she wasn't attracted to Julian or interested in men in general, but now she leans towards his touch like she can melt into his arms.
So now you'll help me.
I'd like to help, yes.
Good. Then you'll keep working for Erica and ensure she stops looking for Jessica and Gary.
I don't know. Erica thinks the letter might be fake. She thinks maybe...
You'll convince her otherwise. You'll find a reason for her to believe that letter is real, won't you?
I hear a note of determination return to Maddie's voice.
Only if that's the truth.
Fine. Let me see your arm.
I told you I'm not using! I haven't since...
His fingers trail down her arm, almost like a caress at first. Her voice goes soft as he leans down to examine her in her elbow. Julian opens his mouth slightly. I see the bright flash of his sharp teeth right before they sink into Maddie's arm. She flinches, but only for a moment, then she sighs and leans against him. He's purring as his mouth digs into her flesh. For a moment, I feel almost as transfixed as Maddie. I can't process what I'm seeing. This isn't the behavior of two lovers. This is something else entirely. Finally, my weapon is in my hands, and my muscles remember how to move. My first shot smashes the window, then I rush through the opening, not caring where the shards of glass cut me on the way. As soon as I'm through the broken glass, I train my gun on Julian. Step away from her now! He's already released her. His red eyes gape wide at me. His mouth still glistens with her blood. And I see a blur. Nothing more. I'm not sure how else to describe it. He moves so quickly. I hear the door slam before I see him walk through it. I hear his car rev up and the squeal of his tires as he races away. Maddie collapses on the couch, her eyes glazed over. Blood still pours from the open wound on her arm.
What happened?
Julian, he bit your arm, and then I think he drank. I can't bring myself to say it aloud.
Is that you, Erica? Oh, I feel dizzy.
She acts like she's drugged. I see the vial of heroin Julian left on the table, but I know she didn't use any. Do you have any bandages?
Bandages? I don't have any.
Where's your bathroom? She points down the hall and falls further back on the couch.
I'm sorry. I'm really tired. Thank God.
She falls asleep before she can finish the sentence. I find something to wrap Maddie's wound and tend to it while she's sleeping. I remember the wound on her arm when she first came to the precinct, and I know this isn't the first time this happened to her. I don't know how to process any of this right now. All I know is I've had a very long day, and I'm not going to leave Maddie alone here tonight. So I settle onto the couch, racing away from my own thoughts until I fall asleep next to her. Chapter 4. That was chapter 3. I don't know how many chapters there are. That one took a long time. From the testimony of Liam Battelle before the Environmental Protection Agency Committee on the Battelle Superfund site, August 1996. I want you to understand, Commissioner, exactly what we're dealing with in southeast Missouri. There's this trope in fantasy and science fiction. I know you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but please stay with me. Of a long-buried ancient force. Humans dig into the ground and they dig too deep. They find something that should have always remained underground and they unleash it upon the world. This happens out of a combination of hubris and greed and the certainty that it is always better to keep going, no matter all the signs that demand they turn back. At first, this ancient force destroys the miners, then the locals, and finally it threatens the world. We think of this as a fantasy trope, a fairy tale, a cautionary fable even, but it is very much real. My great-grandfather was the man who ordered his miners to dig too deep, and like all true evils, the evil he uncovered seemed benign, even useful. We called it lead, now it is everywhere. Interesting. When I wake up, I feel Maddie's body warm against mine. I look down and see her head against my shoulder, her chest rising and falling with sleep. How long have we been in this position? It's a strange sensation for me being so physically close to another person for such a long period. I notice that some blood is seeping through the bandage on her arm. I gently try to wiggle free. Maddie stirs, her eyes flutter. She snuggles further against me.
Don't go, Carrie.
It's Carrie. Maddie, this is Sheriff Wright. She stirs, looks up and blinks a few times. Her face turns bright red as she scrambles away from me.
Oh, Erica! I'm sorry,
She looks around in confusion.
I had a dream you were here. And so was Julian, and what happened?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself, but first we need to change your bandage and get coffee in her bloodstreams. Maddie's confused about the bandage, but seems to agree about coffee. About 10 minutes later, we sit back down with her coffee, but as my head clears with the caffeine, I wish that it wouldn't. Maddie stares at her bandaged arm. With a pale face, the violent syringe Julian brought back glistened on the table nearby.
I know how this must look, but I swear that heroin, or whatever it is, it's not mine. I didn't use any.
It's still really hot. I had a sip. I'll have some. I know. I believe you. You really don't remember anything from last night.
I remember Julian was here. He was disappointed in me. And then there was a gunshot. That's really all I remember.
I nod and take a deep breath. I feel as if saying it out loud will make it too real, but I can't avoid it any longer. Last night I came here to talk to you, but I found you with Julian. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I watched him bite your arm and I think he drank your blood.
He what?
He drank your blood.
Yeah, I heard you. What the fuck?
She peels back the bandage and looks at the wound. Sure enough, there are 2 puncture wounds like fangs.
Shit.
When I first met you, your arm was bandaged. You told me you hurt it trimming some bushes. Was that true?
I don't know anymore. Actually, when I got that first wound on my arm, it was a situation like this. I found a syringe nearby. I didn't remember much about that night, and I feared I was using again.
Dark cloud passes across her face.
Julian wouldn't. He wouldn't do that to me, would he?
So you've used heroin in the past? She jerks as if I jabbed her.
I only used it a few times in college.
It's one of the most addictive substances known to
You
man.
think I don't know that?
The shadow on her face darkens into a storm.
I got control of myself. I put myself in rehab before Dad could. He had hospitalized me before, when he found out I was gay. I wasn't about to give him a valid reason to pull that shit on me again. I got a hold of myself. I went to therapy. I actually healed in other ways while I was in rehab. But by then it was too late. The damage was done. Dad found out. He pulled my college funding, got me expelled.
I'm sorry.
It's not like it's your fault.
A long silence hangs between us.
Julian's the only one who ever ignored the shit this town said about me. He didn't care that I was gay. He trusted me when I said I'd never use drugs again. He gave me a job when I was floundering in life with no idea what to do next. He saved me.
He used you. And then he... okay. And then he used you. He drank your blood and brainwashed you somehow.
That's ridiculous.
Trust me, I agree, but I can't deny the facts. It seems like he compelled you to clean that cabin before I could... That's the word I was looking for, not hypnotized, compelled. To clean that cabin before I could speak for evidence. And last night he wanted you to convince me that the letter from Jessica and Gary was real.
Oh, the letter that arrived on the train? It is real. I know that much at least.
I stare at her a moment. Why do you think it's real?
Because the train doors were sealed before the letter was pulled out. I talked to someone about it. There was no opportunity for anyone to plant something.
I keep staring at her. She sounds fully convinced of this fact. Who did you talk to?
I don't remember right now. I think I took notes. I'll show you later.
Maddie, you didn't talk to anyone about sealed doors. You're making all this up because Julian told you to.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure.
She groans and clutches her head.
Erica, I'm really confused.
I know. So am I.
What exactly are you trying to say here? That Julian's a vampire?
Some finally said it! I force a swallow down my throat. I can't think of a better word for it. In any case, he's a dangerous man, and he's been manipulating you for his own purposes.
And what about the rest of his family? Are they vampires too?
I remember watching the City Vampire movie with Liam. I remember him saying the movie was unrealistic because the vampires could fly. I gulp again. I don't exactly know how this works, but we should prepare for the possibility that all the Batales are vampires. Maddie stares somberly into the couch cushions.
What are we going to do?
Excuse me? I should talk to Mayor Ward. If I'm going to act against the Batales, I'll need his
All
help.
right. Let's go right now.
Wait a minute, you should probably stay here. You're still disoriented
And I'm pissed as hell. I'm gonna help you with this whether you like it or not.
I blinked at her a few times, stunned by her tone, but I also know there's no point in arguing. Fine, change your clothes. I'll get us something to eat.
I'll be ready in 5.
Is she going to still be wearing the same lilac pantsuit? I'm still stewing over what I will say to Mayor Ward when we reach City Hall. I go right to his door and knock, figuring that I'll have the words when I need them. Sheriff Wright, it's early. Is everything okay? No, Jeff. Everything is not okay. The town is being run by vampires. This isn't exactly how I pictured saying it, but what's done is done. Now, hold on a minute. Julian Batale. Probably all of them now that I think about it. He bit Maddie. She is not lying. Maddie extends her arm and shows Ward the wound. Sheriff, can I see you in my office? You want me to leave Maddie here? It would make things easier. You're not responding at all like I expected. Well, anything you can say to me about this, you can say in front of Maddie. She's the victim here. She is the one that was hurt. Fine. Madeline, you may come in as well. The mayor opens his door all the way and motions for us to join him in his office.
I don't understand.
Eric is right. Why aren't you panicking? Because you don't believe us? Because I already know. Hold on. You know about Julian Batale? I know about all of them. It's not what you think. We think they're vampires. Okay, it is what you think. You're going to need to explain a lot of things right now, Jeff. Last night I watched Julian sink his teeth into Maddie's arms and drink from her. It's a long story. We have time, and please, will you voice it? I found out a few months ago. They need blood to live. They don't need to kill. They don't even need to really hurt anyone. Look at Maddie's arm. Did you interrupt him, Julian? Of course I did. He was biting her. They have ways of healing up the wound, or so they say. I don't really know for sure, but I know we need them. No! They're vampires! Yelling that at me over and over isn't going to change the facts of the matter. You know that the Batales control the train. They bring in food. They bring in supplies. They're the only reason we haven't starved. The only reason we haven't descended into chaos. You kept this from me. What was I supposed to do? Burst into your office one day and tell you that we're living in a town with a family of vampires? That's what I did. Of course that's what you did. You're not from around here, Sheriff. He lets that sit for a moment, as if that explains everything. It doesn't. So how did you discover all of this? Did you stumble upon them drinking from your assistant?
What?
I'm your deputy. That's not important right now. Liam, he needed blood. He doesn't like just taking it from people, even if they swear it's perfectly safe. We have some blood at the clinic, and donations just in case of emergencies. Julian needed the key. It was a very long night, Sheriff. Lots of talk of what all this means. You heard all of this, and you didn't just stab him through the heart with a stake. Have you seen Julian Batale? He could break me over his knee even if he wasn't a vampire. Did Liam get his blood? Of course he did, and I instructed the clinic to solicit donations whenever possible. I thought it would be easier that way. Was it? Liam always has what he needs. The other two, Charlotte and Julian, they take what they need. They promise not to hurt anyone, though. Apparently that's possible. Want to know anything else? So you made a deal with the Batales. You let them feed on us, and every week they bring in supplies we need to survive. It's not that craven, Sheriff. Julian said I could expose them. He said he'd still keep everyone safe. He said the trains would keep coming. But do you have any idea what would happen if people found out? Torches and pitchforks. That's what happens in the book.
Well,
That's Frankenstein. What? Villagers don't come with torches and pitchforks for Dracula. You're thinking of... Focus, Maddie. The point still stands, no matter where it originates in literature. I'll level with you, Sheriff. We need the Batales. I don't know how they keep the train coming, but they do. A little blood every few days, a few wounds that heal before we even notice them. Is that too much of a price to pay? This is a lot to deal with. We're surrounded by 36 towers that will make our head explode if we get too close. By comparison, the demands of the Batale are minor inconveniences. Anything else? You admit that the Batales control the train. What do you know about it? Every Monday it brings us enough food to feed the town, cloth, toilet paper, light bulbs, even some building supplies to help repair anything that falls apart. It's a fucking miracle, that's what I know about it. The first time it came, Julian was there with the guards he employs, distributed it fairly, never even took a cut for himself. It's been like that since the towers rose. Yes, but who is sending it? Best I can guess, someone on the outside who knows we need the help. Inanimate objects can cross the tower, that much we are sure of. Someone, maybe the state or federal government or one of the Batale's business partners, know that we're cut off from the world. They're sending us care packages, and the Batales are handling it. Why aren't they sending us information? Why aren't they telling us what's happening outside? Maybe it's worse than in here. Maybe they don't want to worry us. That's an awful way to think about it. The point is this, the Batales own the train, it's one of theirs, they send it back every time. We lose the train, we lose the town, we all die. We could grow our own food, we have the land, You a farmer, Sheriff? No, neither am I, so I'm not going to make the call that we could just handle food all on our own. What else do you want to know? You probably expect this question, but what exactly are vampires? Erica, I hope you never call us here in Batale uneducated, because I know what vampires are in books and movies, but this is real. What did Julian tell you about them, Jeff? All I know is that they drink blood and they don't like the sun. I didn't ask a lot of questions. How did you not ask a lot of questions? I'm not like you, Sheriff. I don't go sticking my nose into everyone's business. They're a very private family. I didn't want to cause a stir. Did you ask for proof? How did they prove they were vampires? They needed blood to drink. That's all the proof I need. I didn't ask him to turn into a bat. Why would I do that? You came to my office days after the towers and told me you were an FBI agent. I didn't ask you to arrest someone to prove it. I'd already arrested someone, August Flynn. I needed a place to stash him.
hey!
Also, that's not all the same thing. It's not. I was frightened, okay? This whole thing was strange to me. I couldn't come up with words to ask all the questions I had. Yes, if I go back in time, I would ask Julian all sorts of things, but he laid it all on me and then he left. I just accepted it and moved on. We've had months of peace since then. I think I made the right choice. We'll see about that. Any other questions? No, that's it. I can't believe all of this. So what are you going to do? Tell the whole town, blow everything apart and see what happens? No. I want to expose them, but I need more information. I need to be able to control what happens next. And the train? I will take into consideration that the town runs on supplies that the Batales seem to provide, but I will not let that be the sole factor in my decision. Well, you're going to be my sheriff when the food starts to run out, so I suppose you'll be making your own bed. I'm not making anything. I need more information. I need to talk to others. I need perspective, because this all seems crazy right now. Just send me a message before you blow the whole story open. I'll do what I can. Dale's only clinic is run by the only medical professional in town, Kathleen Durand, a nurse who used to work at St. Anne County Hospital. There weren't any doctor's offices or pharmacies in Battail, so it was housed in an old veterinary office that had closed down a year before the towers rose. No pharmacy? I understand maybe not a doctor's office, but a town with 600 people, you'd think it would have... Well, you'd think it would have a doctor and a pharmacy, but hey. No one had gotten around to fully cleaning out the facility. Supposedly the property was still in probate, so there was a decent amount of equipment that could be salvaged. Right now, the clinic is usually staffed by either Kathleen or Nancy Schiff, a hairstylist and barber before the contingency. They use one of the only working vehicles still in town, a small school bus converted into a rickety ambulance. According to the mayor, the clinic had something worked out with the Battails to collect blood whenever possible. As long as she's not completely compromised, I assume Kathleen will be able to give me more information. Hey there, Sheriff. Got someone down at the station you need looked at? If it's Carl, I'm not going to run him another IV to fix his hangover. No, actually I'm here about the Battails. Right, I'm just going to go with the truth. I need to know why you collect so much blood from people in town. What? Oh, it's not that much. A healthy blood supply is critical, especially when there are so few potential donors. There also isn't much need for blood. How many transfusions have you actually given over the last 6 months? Well, Julian Battail insists that it's important in case of a serious emergency. And no one gets hurt. He gave me money to pass along to volunteers. Just extra pocket change. Isn't that all a little strange? I know it sounds strange to me, though I wouldn't mind being able to buy a bit more soda at the dollar store. I'm sorry, Madeline, but you know that we wouldn't be able to take your blood.
Hey!
Really? Julian liked it just fine. The room falls quiet. You're not making any sense now, Madeline. You really don't know what the Battails do with the blood. Well, I assume they dispose of it safely. I don't know how to deal with biological waste. We're not to keep any refrigerated past 30 days. They just come and pick up the old blood whenever it's time to get rid of it. To be clear, you've gotten rid of almost all the blood you collect since there aren't many surgeries. I suppose that's true, but we need to be ready. I decide to give her the benefit of the doubt and stop pushing. Most likely she knows something is off about the Battail's demand for a stocked blood bank, but like the mayor, she's stuck in the unenviable position of needing them. The train doesn't just bring food and general goods, but medical supplies and drugs. Without these, she wouldn't be able to help anyone seriously injured in town. Thanks for your help. I'll let you know if we need anything else. That's it. We've got what we came for. We should ask about the injured man, but hey. We haven't done much walking around since the very beginning. For a time I feel defeated. What can Maddie and I do against a family of rich vampires? I wish I could understand more about the Battail's physiology. But how can I learn more about the nature of vampires? Eventually I come up with 3 possible sources. In the Reed's old cabin I remember seeing a book about vampires. Meanwhile, I wonder if a group of survivalists, Freedom's Dawn, has any existing conspiracy theories about the issue. Where should I go next? Cool. Sounds good. Honestly, I think it'd be incredibly hilarious to talk to Wagner. I mean, out of how many people? Because, you know, in the world, that's not too bad. Still hot. Honestly, I'm going to go talk to Wagner because I think if I'm going to ask him about vampires, he's going to think I'm... Ah. Okay. But, you know, when you first started with Zelda, you were nowhere near the top, and now you've got great times. You set a new PB yesterday, they were all green, I saw. And then I saw about 15 million videos get uploaded. So I assume you got through your backlog. Alright, we're gonna go talk to the conspiracy survivalist person.
don't understand.
So why are we going to tip Wagner's house? I thought you said that Freedom's Dawn was a dead end. I don't know. Maybe I just want to rile him up again now that I have backup. I'm not sure how much backup I can be against him. The truth is that Wagner's the biggest conspiracy theorist in town. If there have even been rumours about vampires in Battail, I bet he's heard of them. A meme I don't understand, Jesse. Was it not a normal run thing? I was collecting collectibles in a game, so I wasn't 100% paying attention. He probably even has a big corkboard covered in red string and photographs he tried to print out from an old dot matrix printer. This all sounds very specific. I dealt with guys like Tip Wagner all the time at the FBI. Back then they were all bark and no bite. And now? They have all the guns. If they wanted to overthrow the mayor, the only thing standing in their way would be, ironically, the Battail family guards. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Well, whatever it was, you seem to get a good score, so... I don't know. I've known most of these guys all my life. I bet they're still all bark. Let's hope so. I knock and hear footsteps. Wagner looks out of his window, scowls, and storms to the door.
Why won't you listen?
I thought I told you to go away. I did. Now I'm back.
Is this a joke?
And Maddie Gray, guess I'm not surprised you fell in with a special agent here.
Oh.
And why is that? I think you know why. This is another social visit, Mr. Wagner, nothing more, unless you keep pushing it to make it
Keep
more.
dreaming.
Any day, Agent. In fact, I look forward to it. Good thing my priority right now is finding Jessica Murdoch. Once again, I think you might be able to help.
What's it to you?
It's about the Battails.
Sheriff?
Oh, come on now. It's already been how long and you're already grasping at straws? I know you have eyes and ears all around the city. I want to know about certain actions they may have taken against the citizens of Battail. I'm especially interested in the night activities of Julian and Charlotte Battail, as well as Liam Battail's transactions with the clinic.
Yep.
What the fuck are you even talking
I
about?
don't understand.
You really haven't heard anything about this from your little group?
Listen up.
My little group? Honey, let me tell you something. When those towers go down and the feds roll up, my brothers and the Battail family are going to be your only line of defense.
Huh?
Defense against what? The worst scum of the universe! Sorry. Men in Black reference.
You don't know anything.
Whatever the fuck they have planned, whatever the towers are keeping out, you moan must be something scary. The Battails are vampires. So now you're buying into that socialist nonsense too? Those people took care of the town for more than a century until NAFTA and the feds. They're literal vampires. She holds out her arm and points at the bandage.
Look.
Julian Battail bit me last night. Wagner's eyes go wide, and then he looks at me and talks as if Maddie isn't even there. Looks like the girl's gone and got herself into trouble again. Think maybe she could use a few nights in the drunk tank away from all the vices and temptations of this world. I have to restrain Maddie as she makes a move to punch him straight in the jaw. I hold her back and give her a firm look. Then I turn my attention to Wagner. She's not on drugs and she's not crazy. You really haven't picked up on any of this.
Hey now.
Are you shitting me? Christ, you're the worst survivalist ever. Maddie's anger breaks and she lets out a light chuckle. So is the best note to leave this meeting on. Get in touch once you start to see the real threat to this town. Well, that was funny. Not terribly useful. Funny. Suddenly, my walkie-talkie buzzes to life. Sheriff Wright, please come in. This is Erica. Who is this? This is Fred, the postman. I'm at the school. Oh my God! Fred, why are you using Principal Vincent's walkie-talkie? What's going on? Oh no. She's... Oh God! You need to come to here right away. Just spit it out. There's a body. A body? Someone has been murdered? Is it Jessica? Gary? No, I think it's Principal Vincent. And they dropped the walkie-talkie. Jesus Christ, what happened? There's blood everywhere. Symbols drawn on the ground. Her chest is cut open and... Please come now, Sheriff. I hear those words and feel sick to my stomach. I know immediately who is responsible. Well, we told Liam what his MO was, what the Heartbreaker's MO was. So there are two possibilities here. One, August killed the head teacher. Two, the vampires killed the head teacher and framed August. I don't know why either of them would do that. Unless August got too close. But he was getting drunk last night, and he did say he'd done something. But he wasn't covered in blood. Could have washed. Anyway. She'd be dead. Even if I locked him up. I reckon. I have a save file. We're not going back. I should never have let him free. Hold on, Fred. Where's the body? It's in the gymnasium, right there in the middle of the basketball court. Clear everyone out. Find some bigger students to guard the doors. I'll be there as soon as possible, but there's someone I have to throw in jail first. Maddie, you head to the school and help him out. You don't need backup with August? I can handle him. I approach the house where August is staying, with extreme caution, my gun drawn. I don't entirely expect to find him here, but perhaps some clues to us where he's fled. Over and over, I curse myself for letting the monster free. I almost hope he does attack me, so I have an excuse to put him down for good. Taking a deep breath, I sidle up to the side of the door and knock as loudly as I can. I ready myself for anything. As soon as the door opens, I spin and point my gun inside. August is just standing there, straight as a board. Shocked by my sudden appearance, he drops the coffee mug in his right hand. It smashes into the ground and splinters into a dozen pieces.
Erica.
What's going on? Don't give me that. I know what you've done. What I should shoot you right now where you stand. I don't think he did it. Or... we should check him for bite marks. I honestly think he's being framed. At hearing this, August's face turns from shock to panic. He realizes I'm serious and that his life is very much in danger. With a swift shove, he slams the door in my face. I am not deterred. I take a few steps back and run at the door, barreling into it with all my weight. August hadn't locked it, so it comes open easily. I stumble into the living room and point my gun at the figure in the back of the room. August has grabbed a small knife from the kitchen and stands in the doorway.
Bad idea.
Please, whatever you think has happened, you're wrong. You killed Terry Vincent.
What?
No, I didn't. Drop the knife, August, or I swear to God. I'm not the one on the attack here, Erica. I was just sitting here enjoying a cup of coffee, and you came barging in accusing me of murder. Her chest was cut open. Her body was surrounded by bloody symbols. Sound familiar?
Well...
Sounds like the Heartbreaker, but as I must remind you again, I am not the Heartbreaker. Stop with that bullshit, August. Drop the fucking knife. I mean it this time. To my great surprise, he actually complies. Fine, but please do not shoot me. Please note that I am being very compliant. You still pulled a knife on me. You threatened to kill me, and right now I absolutely do not want to die. Why is that? Because I need to find out who killed Principal Vincent. Oh, come on.
Try spinning in a circle.
Consider for a moment the possibility that I'm not the Heartbreaker. Or at least consider the possibility that if I am the Heartbreaker, I did not commit this particular murder. Okay.
That's not right.
Either possibility means that there is another murderer here in Patale. I'm not the Heartbreaker. I'm the most motivated person in the world to find this murderer to clear my name. If I am the Heartbreaker, I'm still the most motivated person in the world because the Heartbreaker had a purpose, and I doubt that this murder fulfills that purpose. That sounds a little bit like a confession. You say that a lot. It sounds like you're proposing something.
I can help.
Take me to the crime scene, let me look around. I spent the months before the contingency working on my defense. I know the cases inside and out. If I can't convince you that I didn't do it, I will gladly return to your jail cell, if only to prove you wrong when yet another murder happens, and it cannot be pinned on me. You won't try to run?
Please.
Please, Erica, if I was going to kill someone in Battail and run, wouldn't I have done it already? And also, where's it going to run? Because the entire town is surrounded by death towers. Instead, I just woke up and started to nurse this hangover away. You'll comply with every order I give you.
Duh.
The only reason I grabbed that knife is that I could see you were ready to shoot. I know how dangerous you are now, and I respect that. I will comply to the extent that I can comply, if only to save my own life. You make a single dangerous move, and I will cut you down. So business as usual. Believe me, Erica, I won't do anything to jeopardize this. I'm absolutely too curious about what has happened to risk dying before we can solve this murder. Let's just go. I enter the gymnasium to find a grisly scene. As expected, Terry is there. Her body lies in the center of the basketball court, her limbs strewn out around her. Just as Fred described, there are strange symbols drawn in Principal Vincent's own blood around her body. Her chest cavity is split open, held apart by a piece of rusted iron. Her heart is missing, and no surprise to me, is pinned to the floor next to her head with a knife. I'd only read about the Heartbreaker murders. I never saw one of the scenes with my own eyes. Now, I'm glad. August moves towards the body, studying with a clinical gaze that seems to suggest it really is the first time he's seen it. Maybe that's just an act. Maddie follows us in and keeps her distance from the body. I suppose I should get started. Oh! Cool. I was never on the Heartbreaker case, but the position of Terry's body is instantly recognizable. There are only 2 noticeable injuries on her body, but they are plenty significant. First, her throat was cut. The Heartbreaker usually killed his victims before opening their chests, so that was probably the cause of death. The killer, August or otherwise, did not take pleasure in the suffering of his victims and sought to kill them as fast as possible before cutting them open. Blood from the carotid artery was collected as the victim quickly bled out. It was then used to draw the symbols on the ground. Once the victim was dead, the killer would open up their chest and break their ribcage. He would remove the heart and leave the chest cavity exposed. Well, it's not exposed right now, but that could just be for artistic license. It was the same every time. It was the same here, but maybe upon closer examination. There's something about these symbols. I feel like I've seen them before, but not in any of the other Heartbreaker cases. I can't be sure that they match. They seem too hard, too square, even too familiar. They look Greek to me. When I saw the other Heartbreaker victims, I noted that the symbols were entirely alien. Wherever these came from, they were not entirely unknown to me. The hole in Terry's chest is just as expected. Everything else about the Heartbreaker victims was carefully posed, carefully curated. This was something he couldn't be careful with. Without the right tools and strength, it's not easy to break open a ribcage. As the Heartbreaker progressed, he got better and better at it, became more surgical. But that's not what this looks like. This looks like one of his earlier victims. The ribs are shattered, the skin is torn, not cut. The lungs were severely damaged in retrieving the heart. Of course this makes sense, doesn't it? He wouldn't have his tools here in Battail. And again, when August was captured, he didn't have any surgical tools on him. Terry's head is tilted to her left, flat against the ground. A bit of blood stains her right cheek and her eyes are wide open. Neither of those details seem right. I wish I could check with the Heartbreaker case files, but they're kept in St. Louis. I'll just have to rely on my memory. That's all I can get from the body without an autopsy. I don't even know if that will be possible. Kathleen Durand is a fantastic nurse, and she's kept the clinic running admirably. However, I doubt she is capable of a proper post-mortem medical examination, let alone qualified. I just hope that we won't have to find out. Terry's heart is approximately 1 foot from her head, pinned to the ground with a large butcher knife. The knife isn't very deep in the gymnasium floor. I could pull it out with ease, and I'm sure I'll get to that. But right now, I just look over the way it's presented. There's nothing particularly remarkable about the knife except where I found it. It looks like a standard kitchen butcher knife. It could have been bought at any supermarket or big box store that sells tools or cooking utensils. Or Asda, I suppose, Dan. It does not appear to be especially sharp, which would explain the difficulty the killer had in opening up Terry. I instruct Maddie to carefully retrieve it with a plastic bag to prevent contaminating any fingerprints. Instead, she hands the bag to me and makes me do it. I gingerly remove the knife and bag it for evidence. Terry's heart is pinned to the ground next to her head. It's completely intact outside the ragged edges where it was cut from the body. It doesn't seem right. The Heartbreaker nickname didn't just come from his habit of removing the heart of his victims. He would also split them open. I wonder if he didn't have time for his usual ritual. Perhaps I'm missing something altogether. There's nothing else to be gained from staring at Terry's heart. I still can't believe I'm here, standing over her like this. It was only a few days ago. Whoever did this will pay. I will not let this madness spread across Patel. I mean, that just looks like letters. I suppose this isn't what you had in mind when you offered to be my deputy.
You usually just deal with drunks and fights and drunken fights.
I know, and I liked that a lot better.
Are you sure about that?
I don't like murders, Maddie.
It's just when you got that call, I could see something light up in your eyes. It's the same look you had when you chased Julian away from me. It's like you were back to normal.
Don't say that.
You went from FBI to a small town. What do you even have to do in Battail?
I have to stop idiots from trying to cross those fucking towers. That's what I have to do. Believe me, those things are worse than any murderer.
But you don't investigate them. You don't try to stop them.
There's nothing to investigate, nothing to stop. They can't be stopped.
There it is.
What?
This is what you want. This is what excites you. This killer can be stopped. Julian could be stopped. Maybe. You've been waiting for something like this.
That's not fair.
So what? It's true.
Just tell me what you see.
I don't understand.
You're my deputy. You're assisting on this case. What do you see?
I see something terrible. Something unthinkable. How could someone do this to another person?
Ask August next time you get a chance.
Do you think he did this?
Yes, I do. He's the Heartbreaker, and this fits his modus operandi. Well, it mostly
Why
fits.
did you bring him here if you think he's the killer?
I'm watching him. He says he didn't do all this. That doesn't make any sense to me, but I need to be sure.
Can you tell that just by looking at him?
Maybe. Give it a try. Maddie turns her head towards August, fixing her eyes on his. August looks up and returns the gaze, giving her a calm smile. Maddie, don't stare at him.
You said to look.
Yes, I said to look, not stare. Tell me what you saw.
He's not happy. He's trying to look happy, to look calm. But he's angry.
August isn't a man admiring his work, is he?
Not at all.
That's what worries me. So, what do you have to say for yourself?
Absolutely nothing. I didn't do this.
You keep saying that, but you haven't offered any proof.
I can't prove a negative, Erica.
Okay, then at least give me your thoughts. Either you're the Heartbreaker or you're just exceptionally learned in all his methods. So what do you think of
I
this?
think this was sloppy.
I can hear the disgust in his voice. I don't know if I believe it. He's always been a good performer and a better liar. Oh? How so?
You know. You can see it yourself.
Her ribcage was split open, not cut. The Heartbreaker only did that in his first murder. He learned how to cut through bone and brought the right tools afterwards.
That's a good point. I hadn't noticed that.
Don't give me that. I can see the contempt in your face. You're angry. You can't stand that this killer is impersonating you.
Damn right I'm mad. But not because of what you say. I'm mad because this clumsy monster killed the principal. I liked Principal Vincent.
No, you didn't. You mocked and toyed with her.
Mocking her was enjoyable.
Let's just move on. She has blood on her face. The killer touched her head after drawing the symbols beneath her. The Heartbreaker was never that clumsy. There might be a viable fingerprint
I
there.
hope so. I hope I can finally be cleared of all this.
This doesn't clear you with the other ones, dude. You seem awfully confident that this won't be your fingerprint.
I wouldn't make a mistake like that.
Okay, but there's more. No, I brought you out to investigate for a reason. You said you know these cases better than anyone. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you simply reviewed the files.
You want my expert opinion?
Yes, it's the only reason you're not in a jail
You
cell.
left her eyes open.
What?
The Heartbreaker victims always had their eyes closed. Every single one. He didn't want them to watch when he opened up their chests. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Yes, but how did
What
you...
did I tell you? I had to prepare for my own defense. Let's go over more of what we see. That's not the only thing that doesn't fit. You see the rest, don't you?
No, tell me.
Come on, Erica. This isn't the time for getting a confession from me. There's a dangerous killer on the loose, and it's not the Heartbreaker. What else did you notice?
The symbols he drew aren't right. The Heartbreaker always used rounded glyphs. Maybe it was just the pictures I saw, but they didn't look like shapes I'd ever seen before. These are familiar. I've seen these before. I just can't quite...
Ancient Greek. That's the
Told you
language
it was
you're looking
Greek.
for. I'm sure it's familiar, but of course you can't translate it. It's the word telos, spelled diagonally across the floor. It means end or goal, depending on the translation.
And what is the Heartbreaker trying to tell us?
Nothing, because the Heartbreaker doesn't write in Greek.
So what language does the Heartbreaker use?
How would I know? Moving on.
The heart is intact. It doesn't split
Excellent
open.
observation, Erica. The Heartbreaker doesn't just remove his victim's heart. He flays it open and then pins it to the ground.
How could you do something like that, August?
Nice try.
I'm serious. How are you capable of it?
I'm not. Apparently neither is our Battail copycat. So how about we wrap this up?
You have to have something else for me. I can see it in your eyes.
Fine. Think about where Principal Vincent was displayed. You can see this is a display, right? This whole scene was meant for someone to find. But who?
The kids. I don't know. It's in the middle of the school gymnasium. Any number of people could have stumbled on her.
Exactly. Now, remember back to the Heartbreaker's MO. Bodies were displayed in a similar fashion, yes, but not so haphazardly. Think of Annette Polk in Oklahoma. She was found in the living room of a man who lived alone. Richard Samuel in Arkansas? A farm during the dead of winter, over 100 miles from his home, where only one caretaker was watching the fields.
And the Heartbreaker doesn't just pick his victims, but also the people who find the body.
I'm surprised I'm the only one who picked that up from the files.
And you picked that up because you're the Heartbreaker.
Either way, I think I have a future career in law enforcement. We're getting to my point, however. This isn't the Heartbreaker. You and I both know that. It also isn't me, so I can be clear.
You're not wrong.
That leaves us with a serious dilemma. I'm sure this was a lot easier when you could just lock me up, but now you know that's not going to do anything. You can shoot me right here in front of everyone and say the crime is solved, but the real killer will still be out there.
We told Liam.
And I suspect they will kill again.
Why the head teacher? Why is that?
Well, once you have a taste for it.
I can't deal with your teasing right now, August. I need to think. This killer did a bad job, but you can't deny they were trying to copy the Heartbreaker. This is too familiar, it's too close. Who could have known enough to pull this off?
I suppose this is where I turn the tables and ask if you did it.
What?
Simple process of elimination. It wasn't me, so who else knows enough about the murders to pull off something like this?
I can't believe you're pulling this now.
Calm down, Erica. I know you didn't kill Terry Vincent. I just wanted you to feel what it's like to be falsely accused. However, my singular point still stands. We're the only two people in this town we know of who has the knowledge to do this. I didn't tell anyone. Did you?
Yep. Bleep. My mind drifts back to a conversation with Liam Battail. Chapter 8. Okay, we may have to do another session on this. I just did a quick search for Crimson Spires chapters. And there's like a preview of one of the guides that says chapter 8. I'm trying not to read anything particularly spoilery. So, as in we're just in chapter 4, this is not... because... I don't know, I feel like the achievements got given out a lot more quickly in the beginning, and they're giving out a lot more slowly. I've had 2 in 2.5 hours. So, probably going to pick this up again, have to pick this up again next Tuesday as well, which is fine. I'm around next Tuesday. We'll probably do another half hour. End of chapter 4. We've only done 2 chapters. How many weeks do I have before I go away? Right, so we can do next Tuesday, but then the Tuesday after I'm off. And the Tuesday after that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It may be that some of the later chapters are shorter. Maybe it's going to take another... Well, we can always pick it up again after the break. I'll have forgotten all the accents by then. Yeah, we'll have to see. Or, actually, instead, we could do it on Sunday, because we were looking for something to do on Sunday. Because we finished Walking Dead. So we could always pick this up on Sunday. That's probably a better idea than leaving it. Before I knew about their family secret, I started opening up to him. I could recall mentioning the Heartbreaker case, explaining my relationship with August, and it's one of the tales. It's the younger one, Liam.
Oh, I thought he seemed perfectly pleasant.
Yeah, he was the nice one. So did I, but then I found out he was a vampire.
He's a vampire?
Oh yeah, we didn't tell him yet.
Mark's vampire or Stoker vampire?
What?
Is he draining capital from the working class or blood from the...
It's the second one.
I think I need to catch up, Erica.
I'll explain everything later. Right now I need to find Liam Battelle. We're having so much fun. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Sunday, pick up Crimson Spires. I'll have to reset my schedule. But yeah, this is going to be longer than I thought. It's too much trouble to take August back to the precinct now, and I certainly won't leave him at the crime scene. So I found myself walking to the Battelle mansion with both Maddie and August in tow.
I just don't understand. Liam would never do something like this.
How well do you really know Liam, Maddie?
I don't know him as well as Julian, but...
And how well do you know Julian? Maddie seethes in frustration.
You're right. I don't know a fucking thing. I can't even trust my gut instincts anymore. For all I know, Julian put them there.
Julian gave you instincts?
It seems like Julian had some influence over Maddie's mind whenever he bit her.
Oh, right. Because he's a vampire.
An awkward silence follows August's statement, in which no one corrects him. Maddie shakes her head in confusion.
A vampire wouldn't have done this, though. Surely a vampire wouldn't leave so much blood at the scene?
Maybe Liam isn't a vampire.
Maybe Liam didn't do this.
Or maybe Liam did do this, and he's also a vampire.
Once again, an uncomfortable silence follows August's words. Even as August starts to fidget and fall back in line as if to avoid further discussion. Did you have something else to add, August?
Well, only speculation. But if I voice my thoughts, you'll just retort with, "You only knew that because you're the Heartbreaker," or some such nonsense. When it seems like common sense to me.
August, my mind is already made up about that, so just say what you want to say. I stopped to meet his gaze. His eyes narrowed slightly. If I had any remaining faith in August's innocence, it vanishes in that moment, and he seems to know it. He breaks my gaze and sighs dramatically.
Fine. It just seems to me that the heart, being an organ that provides blood to the rest of the body, would release a lot of blood upon removal. In that regard, Principal Vincent's killer kept the chest cavity extraordinarily clean.
My hands squeeze into fists. Then Liam will pay for this. It depends how good their hearing is. Because Charlotte was in the building and, Julian was around. Despite my fury, I pause as I approach the door of the Patel mansion. In all my 6 months of living in Patel, I never set foot here. The Patel family was intimidating enough before I knew their true nature. I close my eyes. I see Terry's dead body sprawled across the gymnasium. Anger quickens my pulse. I raise my hand to the door and knock. I hope at some point it tells us why August got caught. It feels like with the whole, single discovery ritualistic thing that, who would suspect a philosophy professor at a university? So I kind of want more of his backstory. Only a brief moment passes before the door sweeps open and Charlotte peers at me from the other side. Almost as if she was waiting for me.
Ah, Erica.
What a pleasant surprise. I doubt that. But why aren't you after Principal Vincent's killer? I heard about what happened. So tragic. I'm looking for the killer right now.
Why?
But why here? It sounded so much like a heartbreaker murder, don't you think? Yes, but I'm investigating all possibilities. I motion to the others who are waiting in the yard. August waves at Charlotte. Her eyes widen with surprise. Let's cut the shit, Charlotte. I know what you are. I know the heartbreaker didn't kill Terry Vincent, and I'd like to speak to Liam. Charlotte studies me for a moment, her face a blank page. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. I notice how she remains far enough behind the door to avoid any sunlight. Then you should invite me in, or step outside so I can see you better. Her eyes flash. The edges of her lips curl with a smile.
Impressive!
You've got balls, Erica. I do like that about you. She reaches a hand out, letting the sun strike her skin. She seems to be making a point that she can withstand direct sunlight. I don't find her gesture very convincing, because she withdraws her hand only a few seconds later. It's a little warm today for my tastes. I'd love to keep chatting, truly, but I have pressing matters to attend to. Maybe some other time. Where's Liam?
How should I know?
I'm his sister, not his mother. I'm not going anywhere until I speak to him.
Yes, whatever you say.
Enjoy the driveway. Sorry in advance for all the mosquitoes. They planted rosemary hoping to stave them off, but nothing seems to drive those bloodsuckers away. Stubborn little creatures. Laughing to herself, she shuts the door in my face. I rejoin the others, explain that Charlotte wouldn't let me in, then I proceed to pace in angry circles. It's not like I can get a warrant to search the mansion, and even if I did, what would it matter? Charlotte would laugh in my face again.
Perhaps.
You should just break in.
What?
Enter the lion's den. You could be discreet about it, of course. Sneak in through a window.
Maybe.
He has a point. I know where Liam's room is. The thought of getting caught by one of the Patels terrifies me. I remember the length of Julian's fangs as they sank into Maddie's arm. I remember the power he had over her. My hand rests on my gun, and the sheriff of this town. If I don't stand up to the Patels, no one will. Tell me how I get to his room. Okay, let me think for a second. You'll want to walk around to the east side of the mansion. There are some shrubs that will give you cover. And to the last window at the end of the east side. I think it goes right into his room. Take a deep breath and nod. All right, I'm going in. But first, give me your hands, August. Take out a pair of handcuffs. He gives me a look.
Hey.
No need for any of that. Besides, what if you get into trouble? Wouldn't you prefer that I'm available to help? I exchange looks with
I've
Maddie.
got this.
He's right, and if it's me you're worried about, don't. She cracks her knuckles. I can handle August Flynn. I want to argue with her, especially when I see the amused smirk on August's face. But I don't. We're all in danger here, but right now her humanity binds us together. I don't want to cut the fragile thread connecting us. August continues watching me, his grin widening as if he can read my thoughts.
Careful now.
And besides, don't you need those cuffs for Liam? I bite back my retort. Fine, I'm going in. I'll be back soon. I look around warily. The room is completely dark, windows shuttered and curtained. I see a bundle of clothes on the floor, clearly discarded and thrown aside. My breath catches. The clothes are covered in blood. My eyes move to the large bed. It's against the side of the room, but it appears to be empty. Warily, I approach it. Then, the world flips over. I forget which way gravity points until my back strikes the floor, punching the breath away from my lungs. Stars dance in the ceiling. I don't realise a hand was gripping my ankle until it lets go. Then something climbs over me so fast I don't have time to draw my gun. I hear the hiss of breath. I see the flash of his fangs. I'm sure I've been captured by a monster until I meet his gaze. I recognise Liam at the same moment he recognises me. The weight lifts off me. I hear feet scrambling off the floor, but he moves so quickly that it takes my mind a few seconds to register the fact that he released me and now stands a few feet away.
What the fuck are you doing here?
I consider drawing my weapon. I must make a small subconscious movement towards my gun because his eyes narrow when he cocks his head. This is ridiculous. I don't stand any chance against someone who can move that fast, even with a gun. I glance around the room as if to find some other advantage, and I wonder where he was when I first came in. Were you under the bed?
You first. Did Charlotte let you in?
No, I snuck in through a window.
Lucius Christ, she'll kill you, Erica.
I'll take my chances.
I don't think you understand. She'll really kill you.
I'm here about someone who's already dead. Terry Vincent. He gasps, but his breath seems to catch in his throat. Pain racks his face. You killed her, didn't you?
I thought...
He's breathing heavily, almost hyperventilating. If he's trying to hide his distress, he's failing miserably.
I heard her heart was torn out, like the Heartbreaker killer.
The murder was clearly an imitation of a Heartbreaker kill. An imitation that matched the limited information I gave you the other day.
I don't even remember what you told me. I was too distracted by you. I just liked hearing you talk.
Come on.
Why would I do that? What possible reason would I have to kill someone like Terry Vincent? It doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense to me either. I need you to explain.
But...
His trembling increases, his eyes shimmer with tears. His voice trails off, and finally he starts to cry. Suddenly I realise if I have an advantage. If I'm going to make a move, this is my chance. Okay, I don't think drawing my gun is going to do anything. Let's stay calm. I wait uncertainly. Liam rocks with sobs. Liam, I need you to tell me what's happening here. He looks up and wipes his face, but the grief remains.
I want to, Erica, but I can't.
I glimpse a new emotion when his eyes meet mine. Next meet mine. Pity.
You really shouldn't have come here.
He takes a step forward. I know he could move faster if he wanted to, but he's approaching me slowly. He's hesitant, and I can use that. I know what you're about to do. You want to muddle my thoughts, right? He stops, eyes widening. There's no point. Maddie and August are waiting outside. They know I came here to get you. If you try and confuse me...
How much do you know?
I know enough. He winces and turns away, struggling to hold back more sobs.
So you know the truth? You know that I'm a monster?
I know that you have superhuman strength. I knew that Julian drank Maddie's blood and hypnotized her somehow. I assume you share that ability. But as for the rest, I only think you're a monster because you killed Terry Vincent.
I had to! I had to kill Terry to save you from Charlotte.
Okay. Save me from Charlotte? How the fuck does that connect?
After you saw Julian with Maddie, he and Charlotte panicked. Charlotte thought that she might have to kill you now that you knew what we are. But I argued against it. Charlotte still wouldn't listen. But then Julian, he said maybe we could just distract you for a little while, make what you saw less important. One thing led to another, and I told them what you said about the Heartbreaker murders. I never wanted anyone to die. I swear it, Erica. But Charlotte got really excited about the idea. It was like she wanted to see what would happen if we faked a Heartbreaker death. And then she told me I had to do it, or she would kill you.
I'm trembling. I see Terry's corpse sprawled on the floor like I'm still standing in the gymnasium. It's hard to believe Liam really killed her, even after hearing his confession. But it's also hard to think that if I had never checked on Maddie that night... You killed someone else to save a life. I don't think one cancels the other.
It's more than that. If Charlotte went after you, it would be a disaster for the town. Who could we trust to keep the peace? Julian's hired guards? The mayor? They will let us get away with anything. This town needs you, and it needs you alive.
So you went along with the plan to distract me?
I don't know. It all happened so fast. 1 second Charlotte had the idea, the next I had to follow through or you'd be dead.
All of this sounds like a bad excuse for reprehensible behavior.
Please believe me, I didn't want to. I didn't want any of this. But now that you're here, if Charlotte sees you, you're dead anyway. Then it was all for nothing. You'll be dead, the town will fall apart, and Terry will have died for nothing.
I don't care about your moral quandaries right now, Liam. I'm here to arrest you for murder. Will you accept justice or will you resist? I feel as if a boulder's on my chest. I can barely breathe from fear, but Liam doesn't look that much better off. He paces back and forth across the floor, his steps disturbingly fast. Sweat drips from his brow, and finally...
Yes, I'll go with you. Fuck Charlotte. Fuck Julian. Fuck this fucking mansion.
Okay. Are you being serious?
I should have never done it. I should have come to you. I should have fought back against them. Now everything is so much worse.
He holds out his hands.
Jail is better than this place. Get me out of here, Erica. But until this mansion is a tiny speck behind us, you need to be as quiet as a mouse. Understand me?
I understand. Okay, chapter 5. So we've finished 4 chapters. We're possibly now halfway through. So we're going to save there and we're going to call it because I'm tired and my eyes are tired. And we're not going to get through this. We're not going to finish it today. If there's 8 chapters, we're not going to finish it today. So yeah, that is the end of the stream for today. I'm going to bed. Who's on? Who's playing what? Ow. Or do I just end here? I might just end here. There are plenty of people on if you want someone to go and watch. But I can't. I'm too tired now to make the decision on someone to raid, so I'm just going to end it here and say thank you for watching. I've been Joe, otherwise known as HLSK, and I will see you on Thursday for more Mist with Jessie, provided you're still up for it. Catch you later.